every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden. I clicked too slow, but here we go. How's it going, guys? It is May 1st, YC128. This is the Universe Show. Welcome, 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 guys. How's it going? Settle on in, like the stream, all that sort of stuff. It is day 2 of Capsuleer Day. And, you know, okay. Yesterday, I will admit, you know, day 1. There's no warning about anything. Yesterday was mostly just trying to figure out everything. I think it was a great stream. I think that people should go check it out if you haven't already. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. So, by the way, I've moved my mic up so that way it's not in the way. Hopefully that helps and not causes big problems. Let me know how my audio works, as always. Okay. My plan was, yesterday would be the day that I figure out everything I could possibly figure out. You know, that was our day to kind of poke at everything, work our way as slowly or as, you know, staggeringly as we need to through the topics. And then today was going to be like my everything you need to know about the event and how to get the most out of it. In hindsight, that might have been a little bit optimistic, because the problem is that there are some problems that occurred yesterday that have been fixed. There are some that have not been fixed. Ironically, one of the ones I was most targeting to be doing today as far as content goes. So I was already kind of distraught about like, okay, well, what? Because I wanted today to be kind of my long day of streaming, figuring things out, you know, whatever. I figured out that the cruiser and larger sites are pointless to do if you want loot. That's not true at all. I mean, unless you're worried about people stealing them, but we can talk about that in a little bit. My point is that I was already kind of like, well, I don't really know if I could do that presentation that I wanted to do today, because there's still so much in flux, in my opinion. And so I was like, I don't even know if there's any news today. And then, you know, Sylphie and Diabel got arrested, which is two things. One, crazy big news as far as like the grand lore of things go. And two, it's funny because I actually have a previous video about her. Oh, shoot. I did something. Hold on a second. Let me find it real quick. Yeah, I have a previous video about her titled Sylphie, the faction leader you've never heard of. And it was from 2 years ago, back when the Syndicate and everything was in the news last time. And so, you know, in the same sort of way, it's one of those things that, like, I always kind of feel bad about somebody who's, like, been in the game for a little bit. They've checked out some stuff. They've figured out the 4 empires, all that kind of stuff. And then they, like, are like, okay, well, like, I know the major players. I know Omir. I know, Serpentis, Serpati, all these kinds of characters. And then, like, you show up to my lore stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, it's all about Leopold and Valari and Sylphie and Diabel and all these characters that I'm 90% sure most people that haven't put attention to lore didn't even know were characters, right? And Sylphie really is one of those characters. And so yesterday somebody was asking for more tinfoil. Somebody in the comments from yesterday's stream asked for more tinfoil. First of all, good news, lots of it on my channel. Second of all, today might be mostly tinfoil. We may focus more on the event sites and stuff like that next week. I don't know. We may still get time for it, but today is about this news article because it goes into a lot of the different stuff, especially the stuff that we've been just piecing together in the last couple of weeks, including in my I have a few theories video. This only further cements this information, like to give it. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I could have been more prepared today. But in my defense, everything changed this morning. And so I actually, today, I've so far made this conspiracy board. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. This is my morning. Okay, this is, hold on. This is my morning. I've been mapping all of the different, oh no, hold on. That should help. Okay, so I've been mapping the different relationships between this because, like, it is actually pretty crazy how much there is and how much conspiracy theories you can have. So, I don't know what else is going on. I've got lots of other stuff to talk about. I have all of my attempts to plan have gone out the window. So instead of talking about this, let's talk about the news ahead of time. We're just going to get rid of all of the extra stuff, just like yesterday, and then we're going to jump into full-on La La Land. So here we go. A little bit of news. So the Capsuleer Day packs have been released. This was actually a thing from the patch notes yesterday. If we go back to the patch notes, we can see maybe they got removed because it was wrong. At the bottom, yeah. So at the bottom of the patch notes, they had said they had posted these new skin lines were in place, right? And at the time, I just assumed that these were just misnamed because they did come out with the Capsuleer Day skins, but these skins were not added to the game yesterday. But they were added in today. We can see in Hope Leaks, we have 11 new items, including the Women's Blood Collector's Lab Coat, the Men's Blood Collector's Lab Coat. So this is going to be related to the Capsuleer Edda, the book that's going to be written in EVE Online players' blood, which if that weirds you out, boy howdy. But there's a lot of other, we've talked about it before, I'm not going to go into all the details, but like, and then this Crimson Skill Injector, it says this skill injector is a rare gift only held only by those willing to write their story in the annals of New Eden. So these rewards are likely going to be in some way connected to the Capsuleer Edda, with the Crimson Skill Injector likely being only for people who actually do donate their blood while at FanFest to the Capsuleer Edda. And again, if all of that sounds very weird to you, first of all, I mean, that's what you get when a game is run by Vikings, but also you should probably check out the previous stuff about it. Anyway, we do now have the skins that they said were coming out yesterday, but are now here. The Omen Lava Core, the Revelation Navy issue Lava Core, and these 5 ships. Again, every single time that people are like, oh, CCP hates the Caldari, it's like, that's so ridiculous. But either way, so we got 2 Caldari skins, and we've got one of everybody else. And these are part of the new Capsuleer Day packs. Okay, so all 5 of these skins come exclusively from the Capsuleer Day packs. I wish I could have gone just for the Edda. Yeah, I mean, yes. Honestly, it's the thing I regret the most about not being able to go to FanFest this year, for sure. But yeah. Let's see. So with the Capsuleer Day packs, we have these 5 skins. And with the packs themselves, you can see that there are 2 different level packs. There's the $10 pack and the $90 pack. The $10 pack includes the Vengeance, which is that missile assault frigate for the Minmatar. Or, God, that's like the one empire that isn't related to it. For the Amar, specifically Khanid. And it has 23 plex, 230,000 skill points, and the expert system. The expert system is probably nothing. 23 plex is so little, but it's only $10. So you're basically like, most of the value of this $10 has to be for this one skin, which is kind of, I mean, it's a very, these kinds of packs that are like this tend to be sort of like mid for their value, and really rely on the skin to be a big thing, as opposed to like the packs where they, or not packs, but like when they give like a discount off Plex or Omega and then add skins on top of that. That obviously is just a better solution than buying Plex directly. But like you're spending $10, and I cannot say that you're getting $10 worth of skill points in Plex. So you really have to put value on the other things. Although we do have the Cerebral Accelerator, which is 20 days of plus 10 attributes. So that needs to be math in it as well. But overall, it's kind of meh. Especially since the Vengeance is not like an overly demanding ship, overly in demand ship, I should say. And likewise, also, I mean, the skin's fine. We can look at it real quick. Hold on. What is up, Sargon? So if we, what are these things called? Mandate of Faith. Actually, I should have all this in my notepad already. There it is. So the Vengeance Mandate of Faith skin. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's not just like, it has some texture to the gold. It's not nothing, but it is absolutely something that could, in theory, be created with SKINR, or at least something close to it. So I don't know. I'm not calling that a very good deal. As far as the $90 pack, you get 2,300 Plex, which is less than, that's 4 months, $80. So that's $80 plus half of. This is a lot closer. I think I could say that this is a lot closer to the $90 worth of value. And it also comes with the different SKINR components, which we never got a chance to check out yesterday. It comes with the 500,000 skill points, 2 skill extractors, and it comes with all 4 of these skins. So to check those out, won't have time to play until tomorrow night, but that might work out better with the way the event looks right now. So, okay. As far as like the buggy event goes, the only bug that I've actually been able to like narrow down as still happening is that the Mimitar frigate site is not working correctly. We can check out some other things. I assume that the Concord version of the site is also not working correctly for kind of the same reason. But I haven't tested that. But my understanding is I think that the exploration site is responding correctly now. There was an issue with this exploration site not giving loot after that change, but allegedly, according to the forums, that's now been fixed too. Most of the big problems with the site, with the event, have been fixed. There are a bunch of other weird things too, like Teacher Explorer still can't do the low-sec exploration site, but maybe that's intended. And I think there was something about people not being able to progress it correctly, but the problem is it's really hard to tell what is confusion versus things behaving incorrectly, right? And that's always kind of the case. Are Bastion modules on the market yet? Well, they should be. Are they not? I don't see the value in the reward track to be bothered. Well, I mean, the currency in order to get things like the officer modules and the faction modules are going to be great anyways. And then, of course, you definitely want to do the track just for, if nothing else, just for the SSCT ships. Which, by the way, I will say this, like, off the cuff, the way to get the most out of this event, if you don't really care, what's interesting is, because the high-sec loot is kind of bad, but also, so like in previous events, the thing that gets you the loot is the very same thing that progresses the track, right? So people want to do the main, people want to get the kill on like the main rat or whatever, because that progresses the track and gets them the loot. The thing is that the loot in high sec isn't very good. Most of the sites are like 3 million for the frigate, 2 to 3 million for the frigate site, and like 5 to 10 million for the cruiser site. I think those numbers are going to go up once we start to count like the value of the intelligence pieces. But other than that, like not by much. Let's call it 5 and 10 to 15. Still considered very, very low for an event site. And so the consequence to this is that people don't care about the loot. These sites are kind of oddly designed, and I have a lot of criticism for it. Like, some of it's good, some of it's bad. But one of the weirdest things that I found is, like, so you need to be in the correct ship type in order to progress the site, right? So you have to be in a frigate to go to the complex. You have to be through a cruiser in order to get the grid, at least the high-sec grid. Although you can, from my understanding, you can do the high sec grid with a frigate if you wanted to, but you can do it with the cruiser. Anyway, the point is that like I keep finding battleships in these sites, right? I would go to the different, I would see a frigate site, it was already open, I would go to it, and there's a Macarial like 30 kilometers away. And the reason why is because as the site goes, the rats respawn. And one of the rats that respawns is the named rat. And that named rat is the thing that progresses the track. So for the people that are just trying to progress the track, they're actually going in ships explicitly not to finish the site. Because if you run the site legitimately, then you're going to finish the site in like 9 minutes, which is like half the time that the site is available for, at least with the frigate site. So if you sit in the frigate site with a Macarial, for example, you get 20 minutes worth of spawns in order to kill. So you actually get more progress for your site per site by intentionally letting the site slowly fail, but killing all the rats to make sure that it doesn't fail early, just making sure that it times out, right? And so people are completely foregoing the loot side of things and are just pretty much quickly grinding the track rewards by killing the named rats. Now, obviously, this would make it even better to do it in Concord space, as we found it yesterday, because there was no normal rats. There was only the named rats, and that could be pretty cool. But the point is that this is a behavior that I've been seeing, and I think that, like, yeah, fine by you, it'll be done in a week or so. Exactly. Like, let's let the people that are just wanting to grind it out for their points do that. It's fine. So if you ever see anybody complaining about finding a specific, like, oh, where do I find Plagiate class or level 1, like, seriously, the fastest, easiest way to grind this mission, and it's fun too, because like most people, the people that are trying to run the sites for loot aren't necessarily even going to be that upset that you're there. I mean, they might get upset if you start killing the named rats and they also want those. But if they're there for the loot and you're there for the named rats, you actually have a certain amount of synergy together, right? Is it possible to just sit and rep the blue rats? I haven't tried repping the blue rats. I bet you it is, but they won't break anybody else's tank. Go to Solitude if you want to mine. Yeah, and also, I mean, there's a lot. Just go off the beaten path would probably help. There's also certain missions. Actually, today's going to be all over the place, guys. Buckle in. So there's this mission, Onslaught, level 1. It's a level 1 mission. It is against rogue drones. So I assume that it could be found in basically all Empire space. And it has, according to this, 814 M3 worth of pledge. So in theory, if you're already grinding missions, level 1 missions for your event points, you can, if you manage to pick up Onslaught, then you already have Plagiate class. There might be other examples of this. That's the one I've gotten so far. Anywho, let's get back to the ship skins. So the Stork State, I actually really like the State version of the skin. Mining Crocite with drones in high sec sites as a porpoise did not generate M3 progress. No mining with drones gives you progress, and I would just assume that that's going to always be true for missions or for events unless they fix it. That's just a thing that they have. Like, somebody's going to have to write the capability to count your drones total as that's a like an actual coder needs to pick up that ticket and make it work, which means since it's not a critical issue, the chances of it getting fixed is admittedly very low. So just get used to the idea that you do not use mining drones in order to progress tracks for events and stuff. I'm a returning player, being away for 10 years. Quick question, where can I research blueprints? Okay, first of all, I do have a video entitled Returning to Eve, Watch This First. It is from 2022, so it's not all of the updates, but the point was a lot of things changed, especially from 2019 to 2022. And so it's worth picking up that video and checking it out just to get you most of the way caught up. To answer your question specifically, you're going to want to go to the structure browser, and you can set the structure type. It is better to do Citadel or to do NPC or player structures. You can do it in NPC stations or in player stations or structures, but you're going to actually, well, actually, it doesn't really matter. You can do select all if you wanted to. But you want to go to service filter and switch it to. Really? Is it not here? Hold on. Is that just industry? Am I crazy? Yeah. Wait, hold on. Okay, never mind. Screw the structure browser, apparently. So if you have a blueprint, hold on. Let me. I have an answer to this. Don't worry. I just need to find. No, I don't have any blueprints here. Okay. I have this blueprint. No, I can't. It can't be done. Well, the NPC station would have to have the. Can you do it? I thought you could. I'm pretty sure you can do research still in an NPC. Either way, whatever. Hold on. No, I need it original. Oh my gosh, hold on. I'm on the wrong character for all my blueprints. Here we go. Excellent. Okay, great. So if I use this blueprint and I open up the industry window, you can actually go, you'll be on probably on this tab, Blueprints tab. You can click on Facilities tab, and now you'll be able to find all the facilities within a certain range, and you'll be able to see, like, okay, does it allow for material research, time research, copying, etc. So you're going to look for locations with these bonuses, and you can actually hover over it to see what all of the specifics for that structure. So if it happens to have rigs or whatever to make it better, then go for it. Can it be done? Can it not be done? No, hold on. Yeah, this station doesn't allow it. Hold on. There you go. This station, which is absolutely an NPC station, it looks like it does have research and copying and stuff. I assume that very few stations are going to have research capabilities. Right. Yeah, and you're going to get better bonuses in low sec, but yeah, no problem. Petition. All right, so back to what we were talking about though, which was, I think, ranting about skins. So the stork, I actually really like the version of the skin for the Caldari. It's got the dots, like dotted kind of effect on the side. These skins are not premium skins. These are all basically fancy SKINR skins. There's no particle effects on any of them, etc., etc. And these are the ones that they want. Remember, these are the ones that they want you to spend $90 on. Okay, so there's that one. You also get the Harpy. You get 2 Caldari ones for some reason. And then the Deimos. I think the Deimos is the best looking one, but that's also just because the hull is just so goddamn pretty now. About that effect right there. Oh yeah, okay, so it does change the lighting colors too, but whatever. And then the Maelstrom. This skin barely even looks like a skin. I guess, yeah, it's got the pattern to it, but doesn't it look kind of like... Isn't there a navy? No, I guess not. I don't know. I'm not like, again, this feels very, this especially of all of the skins so far, this is the most like I could have done this in Skinner. Somewhere like the Amamake Keepstar. Yeah, it's actually true. Like honestly, if you're really like, if you want to step it up a notch and like take things seriously, considering Amamake for industry is actually an incredibly good idea. You know, low sec is very good for industry compared to high sec anyways. The biggest concern with low sec is your structure getting blown up, and the manifestation of that fear is usually snuff. But the thing is that snuff uses the Amamake stations for their staging and processing. And so of all of the low sec stations, now knock on wood, I would assume that Amamake stations are likely the most secure. The other good thing about Amamake is that while it is low sec, it is adjacent to high sec. So evacing your stuff out, getting stuff out, etc., is not that big of a deal. So, you know, one of the single best places to do industry, especially as an independent industrialist, might be Amamake. Skins on Mimitar ships that don't add extra bits always look meh because the textures get lost in the clunky details. That's not bad. No, that's not untrue. That's pretty accurate. Both Caldari skins have sin written on them. Infiltration confirmed. Oh no. Why does it have sin? Wait. Why would it? Wait. No, that's really weird, right? Like that. No, like I know you're joking. I assume that you're joking, always lemons, but you're not wrong. What does sin 41 mean? Thank you. Thank you. I mean, if not Intaki Syndicate, what else is it referring to? Was my point. This one has the Amatar logo on. Hold on. Okay. So the Cottage ship has an Amatar logo on it, which is also weird. That's Amatar, right? Today is a crazy day, guys. Settle in. We're gonna not spell Amatar right. Yeah, that is the Amatar Mandate logo. On the Conid and Amatar Mandate do not like each other, by the way. Okay, well, we're gonna keep going then. The Harpy one. Just go ahead and hang out, Ragtag. You can show the rest of the stuff. You can check out the stuff later, but we're getting there. We're gonna get there. So this one also says the Chief Executive Panel, and this also says Sin 41. So this might be a hint that the next like shoot a drop is going to be that this is actually the Intaki, or this is the Caldari State Syndicate, a different syndicate. Y41. Man, I feel like this means something, guys. Like that's such a weird thing for them to add to these. Either way. Next, Deimos one. 41 AI. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to stay at least minorly grounded. Duval Laboratories. That should be there's the Galente logo right there. Like they actually have the Galente logo. That seems proper. It's hard to see though. It's like barely there. Caldari take over the Syndicate. Dude, there's so okay. I am intentionally leaving the tinfoil for in a few minutes. I will say. Is there any Galente faction that has Tiger Strike? This doesn't look like anything. Maybe like Interzone Vanguard colors at least, but I can't think of anything that this like looks like. I think it's just a fancy SKINR design compared to like, because it has a lot of the same hallmarks of the rest of the SKINR designs. But also like the Galente have the most reason for it to be this right now because like the election just happened and everything. The Maelstrom, I always thought that this was weird because Starkmanir, is this a reference to Starkmanir? I think it is actually. Hold on. Yeah, because this logo here. Hold on. The logo changes from Mimitar to Starkmanir. I assume, right? Stark. We have, yeah, Starkmanir. There it is. It's a Malro ship. Yeah, that's true. Huh. Oh shoot! Speaking of which, speaking of skins, I need to start the giveaway. Hold on. And yeah, I'm starting to do giveaways, guys. I don't always mention it. Yesterday we gave away 2 video games, and I didn't even mention it in the thing. So you gotta watch the live streams if you want to get these things. Today we're gonna do a custom SKINR, assuming everything works. Maybe. All right. Here we go, guys. Exclamation point plunder for your chance to win a custom skin made by me. I know it says skin of your choice. It's not 100%. Well, I mean, yeah. You can probably choose from my skin collection, too. All right. Is it a hint at what all the factions will be focusing on during the event? Maybe. That's the thing, is that I don't know what the process for making these skins were. It could have just been kind of an accident that these ended up being this way. But it could not. Could not. We could always see. I have in the past been kind of caught off because there seems to be some lore hints in stuff that doesn't always go anywhere. Although, so like the best example of this would be like Sancha ships, right? So we have a Phantasm. So the Phantasm, really all the Sancha skins or ships have the True Deliverance skin. And this skin is the skin that, oh, god damn it. The True Deliverance skin has this line about the Vimoksha chorus. And this is basically where the Vimoksha chorus was introduced. And they have shown up here and there in the lore, but they've been very, very underground as far as like trying to figure out who the Vimoksha chorus is versus the rest of Sancha. So there's been some cases in which CCP will introduce factions and introduce information about characters in skins, but whether or not that ever actually goes anywhere or whether or not it means something for that skin, hard to say. I do think that the assembled during the Warpath conflict by the CEP, their task is to defend Megacorp assets from Galente assault and safeguard the infrastructure that holds the state together. These regulators are the ultimate combination of state loyalty and corporate honor. I would not be surprised if in the next couple of days we did see a lore event where like the responses to the Warpath event kind of becomes more organized, and we see, but like the fact that the Starkmanir would be the ones that jump on board for the Mimitar would be pretty crazy. But the idea of like this rise of this Caldari state syndicate, well, that's true. That's true. It does say that. Well, maybe we should just run into the go into the event or the lore stuff now. As far as before we do that though, I do want to finish off. Just there is some patch notes today. The information panel was changed a little bit. The sentries will no longer pod you if you're in an exploration ship. I'm sorry, guys. No more 2 billion-isk pods showing up on Zkill filled with virtue implants because of the centuries. You know, I still think that the rats can spawn, that spawn might pod you, and that definitely the I would assume that the landmines could theoretically blow you up. But that's a whole thing that we should probably check out one of these days ourselves. And now they have fixed the thing where, they posted that the known issue was that the defense grid and the war grid both were wrong. But it turns out that only the defense grid was wrong. The battleship site was correct even yesterday. But now if you secure all 3 complexes for the cruiser site, you gain the full reward instead of getting less than the 2 point version. And then the thing about the exploration caches not despawning correctly has allegedly been fixed. Like I said earlier, there was an early report that the cans had no loot in them, but that has also allegedly been fixed. The missing icons for skins, we didn't really talk about this yesterday, but that's true. So if you go into the... Oh, not that one. So if I go to the daily login campaign, you can see that these now have, proper icons when yesterday they did not. And then the acceleration gate from the war grid and defense grid extraction areas was, it was just, I guess, confusing. It was just a thing that was there. It didn't really do anything. They've removed that. And then they fixed various names and descriptions, which we can come into HoboLeaks and see. They changed, like, all of the fake faction warfare center structures became warpath complexes. They just corrected some of the verbiage that they hadn't put in correctly. Just little fixes here and there. So yeah, that's it for the patch notes. Oh yeah, I also do want to check out these SKINR components before we jump into the New Eden news, just because I got cut off yesterday. So let's go ahead and do this. I know some of you are like, oh, why SKINR stuff? It's like, because I care and other people care, so we're gonna care. Open this up. Let's pick a big flat ship. So Argus. Because all of the things are all... Well, there's the new green, right? When did that green get added? I don't know. But let's see. It just came out. So... Oh, not that one. Not it just came out, but like I just got it. My bad. This is the current Twitch drop reward. I think it's still up. You have to watch Twitch for 4 hours. It's Pastel Dreams Gloss. I don't already have it, so that's a good sign. And that is horrifying. I mean, that is lime green? I don't know a polite word for this color green. Wow. All right, well, that's fine. Let's look at the patterns. We have Chaotic Skies. Radioactive green. It's almost radioactive green. It's a little bit too limey to be radioactive green, in my opinion. That's true. It could be that like what's going to happen is another big raid to rescue the Starkmanir. I'm not, that's okay. Never mind. That's tinfoil. Tinfoil is later. Let's see. I'm looking for multiple of them, which means of course I'm not gonna find any of them. Hold on a second. I'm trying to look for the ones that I don't already have, because that's the most likely to be them. No, like it comes from up to down. Really? Wait. There it is. Wait a minute. Is there like a... This is not the right color for this. We need like a flat. There we go. Okay, I mean, okay, so it does. So it has like a... Okay, yeah, it has a fade to it too. It's not just the lines. So it's like it has the lines and the fade in one thing, which could be seen as kind of cool. I like it. Sunglass green. I still think lime green is going to be what I'm going with. And then there is... Looks like it's like the burning ones, but it's from the bottom. Nope, that's permafrost. Wait. This one. Yep, Echoes of Action. That one's pretty cool too. Again, they're adding like a pattern with a fade in one go. That could do some cool stuff. And I still hate how hard it is to find anything. The UI in SKINR just... This is why somebody was like, "Oh, you should make a SKINR guide." And like right now I don't want to make a SKINR guide because I don't want this to be the way that SKINR works. Like I'm really hoping we get an announcement soon about some updates to the SKINR UI, because I mean, like, I get it, but at the same time, whew, this one looks really cool. It feels like there's a lot of things that you could do with this depending on how you want to do it. Whoa. That's an interesting little texture you could do. Yeah, this one has, I think, the most potential of all of them so far. My Baba for search. I don't know if I'm willing to give up my Baba Raga for it, but yeah. Okay, and then we have one more, which is like the one that I'm going to have the hardest time finding because it's like an acid one. Kind of like this one, but... Oh, that's actually not even what I expected it to be. Kind of like that one, but it comes from below. Looking for one from below. Not that one, right? No. Hey, wait. Is it? No. No. It's one I don't have, too, obviously. Right? Okay, now I feel like I'm wasting everybody's time. Hold on a second. Okay, so this is War Fatigue. Wait a minute. Is it one I already have? No. Not that one. Hold on. War Fatigue. It isn't from below. It's only from below in the picture. It's right here. It's right in front of me. It's this one. Okay, great. Wow. No, I like... Oh, this one. This one is good. Hold on. Actually, now I want to see. Like, I need super black. Hell yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, I like this one a lot. I like this one a lot. And you could even like... Okay, hold on. You could do this. And then we could do this. And then we can do this. Oh yeah, this has some pretty good potential. Are these... Hold on a second. Can we get these from... Are these the ones that we can... Wait. Are these the ones that you can get from the turn-ins? Daily login rewards. Echoes of Action. That's the one we just looked at. They're all sideways on the thing. War Fatigue. So you get all of the same ones. You get multiple copies if you log in every day of all of the SKINR components that are part of this pack. Guys, I hate this. Like, I don't say this often. Don't buy this pack. Like, unless for some reason you really like one of those skins or whatever. But even then, I'd say buy the skin off the market. This pack is kind of, in my opinion, one of the weakest packs I've ever seen. Yeah, no, this is... I'm absolutely going to have to get an unlimited of all the SKINR components that are available. Speaking of SKINRs, I saw my... Like, I got back into my Stabber Fleet issue today, and boy, I love this skin. Okay. Okay, so advancing lines. No, these are different. Chaotic Sky. Wait. Chaotic Skies is the one I talked about. Echoes of Action is that one. And War Fatigue Unlimited. Yep, you can get War Fatigue Unlimited for 200 operational intel. You can get an unlimited one for 200 intel, or you can get 3 extra of the limited ones for $90. So... The Yantey logo is fractured. It's got the That's true. It does have the presidential logo. And Rodin is Rodin's colors. It's not Rodin orange. Rodin is more like a bronzish color. But you made a good point there. Okay. Back up. Okay, so that is all of the news that isn't tinfoil. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the reason why everybody's really here. Back up real quick. All right. Speaking of which, I actually have at least 2 of the New Eden News, previous 2 New Eden Newses are now up for members, and then over the weekend I'm going to make sure those are available for everyone. That would be the... Oh gosh, hold on. So the announcement of a Concord and Air and the Exordium Region 1, and then I also have just up for members the video from yesterday, a cutout of the video from yesterday for Warpath. So those both will be available for everybody over the weekend. But of course, you can go back and watch the live stream if you want to watch the whole thing. So either way, yeah. All that said, let's jump into the news. Down the rabbit hole we go. Yeah, exactly. Do you have your plundering gear? Okay. Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and this is your New Eden news for May 1st, YC128. Sylphie and Diabel arrested in relation to Jita Gate incident. Probably should redo it, but not going to. Sylphie N'Diabel was arrested today as she arrived in Landfall, New Caldari. The unofficial leader of the Intaki Syndicate was summoned to discuss accusations of the Syndicate's involvement in recent Cheatergate incident. On arrival, N'Diabel's vessel was seized by Lidai Protection Services. The Megacorporation Security Force then handed N'Diabel over to the Joint Task Force of State Keepers and House of Records agents for interrogation. Isalonen Uomalia, CEO of the House of Records, explained the arrest to reporters outside of the secure facility in which N'Diabel was being held. Quote, in March, 2 members of the Intaki Syndicate were found guilty of tampering with Jita's gates. The pair was originally convicted of sabotage, but faced further charges of terrorism following the attack on Jita. As part of the plea agreement, the pair has provided testimony and evidence that confirms that the attack was carried out by a Syndicate agent on Sylphie N'Diabel's orders, end quote. The burgeoning warpath conflict has only increased the political will within the Caldari state to find and punish those responsible for the Jita Gate incident. With the financial breach that led up to the incident still ongoing, Chairman Akimakasaraki call for retribution has been echoed throughout the state. The slogan, Smash the Syndicate, has appeared in corporate petitions to management, memorials to the lost, and graffitied on walls across Caldari space. This marks a dramatic swing in public relations between the state and the Syndicate. First formed by the Intaki exiled from the Federation for Caldari sympathies, the Syndicate has become an organization with a reputation for corruption and is regarded as a safe haven for pirates and smugglers. In YC124, they signed a treaty of protection with the Caldari in exchange for granting the state control over the constellation DS-TAC M4Q. This led to an elevated diplomatic status for Syndicate members within the state. According to Huamalia, quote, the Intaki Syndicate made use of our special relationship to obtain high-level access and exploit it. This is an act of betrayal, and our national honor demands a response, end quote. An association of free entities rather than a contiguous government, the Syndicate has no formal ruler. However, Sylphie N'Diabel is generally regarded as its unofficial leader. Notorious throughout the cluster for her cunning and savvy, many were surprised that she agreed to visit the state during a period of such unease. N'Diabel herself is unavailable for comment, as she is considered a high-risk detainee and is being held in a special isolation with maximum security facility. However, her legal representative did read a statement that she has written stating her innocence and informing the authorities, quote, do not waste their time setting up a trial, end quote. News in brief. Rumors of preparation for large-scale mobilization by Syndicate as assets pile up in capital hangars under their control. President Moreau raises possibility of amnesty for descendants of exiles in address to Intaki Assembly. SOE sends aid delegation to Jita as humanitarian crisis worsens. Reverend Mother Santamona Sarpati declines to comment on N'Diabel arrest. Casualties rise across cluster as warpath conflict spreads. Tunir Tashmerkon calls for firing of Overseer Quartermaster for incorrect system designation. Sukavesta CEO Kai Kaninen Anita, I love Caldari names, compare Syndicate to Garistus in controversial condemnation. Amatar mandate elite pilots praised by Grand Admiral Ketsti Sundara for warpath response. That is it for your New Eden news for May 1st YC121, and now for some analysis. And oh boy, do we have some analysis. Some of you, most of you, a lot of you might not even know who this character is. So we're going to do a little bit of a journey today. But first of all, I do want to point out, like, this statement of not to waste their time setting up a trial is very ominous. Many people have already pointed that out. Very fun. But Caldari Japanese names are easy to understand if you understand how Japanese work. I do not understand how Japanese works. So, either way, let's talk a little bit about Sylphie. Like I said earlier in the stream, I have an entire video titled Sylphie N'Diabel, the faction leader that you probably don't know about, I think is what it was called. But it's true. Like, she is honestly one of the more powerful people in all of New Eden. And yet, if you just play the game under normal conditions, you may not even know who she is. She is the de facto pseudo leader of the Yantey Syndicate. So to tell the story of what exactly is going on, we're actually going to have to begin with the story of the Syndicate itself. So the Yantey Syndicate is a faction that was created during the Gallente Caldari War. So basically, the thing is that the Yantey people, which are like, they joined the Gallente. They joined the Gallente. Of the groups that joined the Gallente, they were one of the most advanced civilizations, besides maybe the Caldari, but especially of the outside of Luminaire civilizations that the Gallente met and then brought into the Federation. The Yantey were by far the most sophisticated, and so as a part of that, the Yantey people have always had a sense of independence to the Federation that a lot of the other member states of the Federation do not get to have, right? So this is why control over the system of Yantey have always been kind of muddy, etc., etc. Now, the Yantey people are very they're actually like they're very close to being Janist. Oh no, I don't have it here. So the Yantey people have this whole religion and way of operating, right? History, culture. So they have this religion called the Ida, the Yantey faith. We've talked about this a few before, but basically, we are considered by ourselves as outsiders to be quiet, reserved, and thoughtful people. The unwritten laws or customs of the Yantey give rise to these impressions. We tend to think before we speak, preferring to give a concise statement rather than half-formed thoughts. When someone is involved in a task, we prefer to let them acknowledge our presence rather than interrupting. We also tend to look at problems in a more holistic way, considering all things connected. Much of this is crystallized in our philosophy, or as others call it, the Yantey faith. We simply call it the Ida, the literal translation, to consider. It is a good description for the Yantey. Some try belittling us by calling it the path of least resistance, although this is a good description. So the idea is that the Yantey believe in the interconnectedness of everything, and so this makes them a far more contemplative and peaceful sort. They also have a very interesting view of life and rebirth. One of the core things core tenets is that all things are in a cycle. Death leads to rebirth. A solution only leads to more problems. We know that the soul and the spirit is eternal and will be reborn many times to learn new lessons. And once it is fully understood, the cycle it can finally move on. The reborn are an important part of this. There are people that have reached a level of understanding that may choose to be liberated, but choose instead to remain and teach others. In earlier times, there were many tests and rituals to ensure that a soul had indeed been reborn, and through mental discipline and training, these reborn were able to continue their lives, work over many lifetimes. These rare people were given the title Idama. In modern times, with the assistance of technology, the rebirth process has been made more certain. In fact, many of the techniques and experiences of the reborn have assisted in the development and perfection of the psyche restoration and cloning. But even today, the status of Idama is still reserved by those who have been reborn without assistance. So they actually have in their religion this process of transferring consciousness from a person who's dying to a child or something like that, to be reborn without technology. Now, the Yantey do have the technology to do this. This is a big piece of probably what was stolen by Ishikone at first and then Lidai later. But the point is that they have a deeply spiritual understanding of things, and this makes them naturally kind of repulsed by things like conflict, war, and oppression, right? So what this means is when the Gallente and the Caldari were getting frisky with each other back in 22,794 AD, which is, oh wait, no, sorry, my bad. Yeah, so during the Caldari Gallente War, which started 100 years ago, whatever. When the Caldari Gallente War started, obviously, so the Caldari, the states or the mega corporations were not happy under the oppressive Senate rules, and so they began to build their own colonies without informing the Senate. The Senate finds out about it. They get mad. The mega corporations tell them to go F themselves. And so, tensions rise until one of the Gallente settlements, one of the Gallente cities on Caldari Prime, this underwater city, gets attacked by this terrorist attack that kills everybody in the city because it blows up the dome that's protecting the city. It's an underwater city, so you blow up the dome, the entire city floods. So that kind of triggers the all-out war. The Gallente proceed to orbitally bombard Caldari Prime. Tovel Tobel fight off the Gallente with his carrier, finally sacrificing himself and his carrier in order to save the people of Caldari Prime, as the people in Caldari Prime are attempting to escape Caldari Prime to go to New Caldari Prime. This is how everything went down, and it was bad, right? So, given all of this and this conflict between the Gallente and the Caldari, the Yantey kind of look over and are like, that isn't good, right? And they're torn on whether or not the Gallente are terrible people for having done this. And so some of the Yantey choose to no longer be part of the Federation. But, obviously not being part of the Federation is a big thing that would annoy the Federation, but they're also so far overstretched because, they're fighting the Caldari. And so a bunch of the Yantey guys, not only, so the Yantey do two things. One, a whole bunch of them defect from the Federation and go off and do their own thing. They form the Yantey Syndicate. But also, a whole bunch of these Yantey decide to join the war on the side of the Caldari. And these guys, this unit of Yantey soldiers who are now working for the Caldari, get put under the command of a Caldari military officer named Moria Mordu. And then, so Moria Mordu leads this group of Yantey during the war, and then when the war ends, the Caldari state gives them this location in Warshi or whatever it's called, and eventually, the Yantey get treated very badly by the pretty xenophobic Caldari state people, and this leads to this big problem with the colony, and leads to the uprising, in which basically Mordu says, "Screw you guys suck. The Gallente suck. Everybody sucks. I'm taking my guys, and we're going to go do our own thing." And that's the formation of the Mordu's Legion. So out of this Gallente Caldari war and the unhappiness of the Yantey people, you get two fractured groups. You get the Yantey Syndicate, and you get Mordu's Legion. And this is why Mordu's Legion has always been very supportive of both the Yantey system, the system of Yantey, and the Yantey Syndicate as an institution, right? And so, of course, the Yantey Syndicate, the members that would eventually become the Yantey Syndicate, go off and find areas in Nullsec, which is now Syndicate region, build their own facilities, do their thing, and establish the Yantey Syndicate. That's why they're not really like a government per se. They're not like a group under leadership. They're just kind of the people that no longer wanted to be part of the Federation that now all work together, but they weren't intended to have a solid, real government body with a leadership. Enter the Diambel family. So hold on. They don't just, well, yes, exiled, leave, however you want to explain it. The point was that the Gallente did not try to force them to stay, and instead they separated off. Okay, so here we go. 500 years ago, the Yantey people lived a simple life on their home planet. For them, the sky was a mystery that they were only slowly unfolding with their pre-industrial technology. Then the Galanteans arrived and swept them into a modern age in one swift stroke. The Yanteys, initially overwhelmed, adapted quickly, and within a century had seasoned space travelers and active members in the Gallente government body. They soon established their reputation as fair-minded humanists that excelled as deft negotiators and clever businessmen, fitting perfectly into the Gallantean way of life. The social uproar following the Caldari departure from the Federation touched the Yanteys deeply, and many of them sympathized and even supported the Caldari. The yoke of cumbersome Federation bureaucracy lay as heavy on the Intakis as it did the Caldari. Understandably, the Galentians were forced to deal harshly with these elements to prevent a complete fragmentation of the young Federation. Understandably. So we know that this article is also written with a bit of Galente bias. Apart from a few minor uprisings in the Federation, quickly subdued the Intakis. Those deemed the biggest threat of stability were the regime that were arrested and exiled. Some of these went over to the Caldari side, but the majority of the exiles, some 5,000 in total, went out into the great unknown at the outskirts of Federation space. There they built themselves new homes on the front form of a sprawling space stations, the Federation barring them from colonizing any planets or moons. In time, as the exiles became more organized and their powers increased through asteroid mining and black market trading, they formed a loosely connected organization and termed it the Yantey Syndicate. The Syndicate is not political in any sense. Each member station enjoys complete autonomy, but they share economical information and help each other in security matters. So they can't colonize planets. So instead, their stations kind of function as city-states. The territories of the Yantey Syndicate are open to everyone, no matter their race, political creed, or legal stature. Remember, this is written in 2001. This is actually this chronicle allegedly was written 2 years before Eve was released, just to keep that in mind. This is foundational lore shit. Yeah, Void Dweller Stellaris start. Yes. I've always wanted to like make every single faction within Eve in Stellaris. That's a really good idea. Anyway, the Syndicate is not vastly wealthy or powerful, but they serve as an important function on the fringe of Empire space, acting as the safe haven for anyone and everyone, where everything can be bought and sold, no questions asked. While the Federation was still the promised land, and the Syndicate territories received a residual immigrants that weren't allowed into the Federation for one reason or another, thus slowly growing in size and importance. Each Syndicate station has its own governor, who has complete authority over their station and its surroundings. The governors are those who were instrumental in constructing the stations all those years ago, or their descendants. The unofficial leader of the Syndicate in years past was the governor of the Poidat station, Dorn N. Daabel. A charismatic and passionate leader, he installed order in the chaos that reigned over the exiles and set the foundation of the Syndicate. Like so many prominent Intakis, N. Daabel was an albino, which lent his authority the strength needed to push his will through. A decade ago, N. Daabel died in a freak accident. Again, when we say a decade ago, that's now 30 years ago. Meaning his mind couldn't be transferred to his clone. His eldest son inherited his father's position as station manager of the Poidat station, but trouble was brewing on the horizon. Syndicate rivals of the N. Daabel family were gathering strength for a coup. Not possessing his father's shrewd political mind, young Gar N. Daabel was clearly out of his league, and equally weak siblings on Poidat were incapable of lending the kind of assistance needed. But one child of Dorn and Daabel was not on Poidat, nor had been for more than 5 years. Sylphie and Daabel, his youngest, had been sent off to the Sisters of Eve after one heated row too many with her father. Alone, among Dorn and Daabel's offspring, Sylphie had inherited her father's wits and passion, as well as her mother's fiery temper. Her stay with the sisters, initially intended as punishment, grew into enthusiasm for Sylphie. For the first time, she was free of her father's iron will and free to live as she liked. She struck a friendship with Santamona Sarpati, an influential sister that also happened to be sisters of the notorious V. Salvador Sarpati, head of the Serpentis Corporation. But just as Sylphie's career with the sisters seemed poised for rapid takeoff, she decided to hear the desperate calls of her family and head back home, Poidat. Once there, Sylphie quickly assessed the situation, and in one swift stroke, as cunning and brutal as any of her fathers had deceived, she had seized the initiative. First, she altered the station's charter so that from now on the populace would elect a governor for life. This went unopposed, as the family's enemies thought this as a sign of weakness. Their view confirmed a week later when one of their own was elected governor. But then Sylphie put in the next step of her plan into motion. She secretly arranged for attacks on all inbound food supply ships, thus slowly putting Poydot Station in a state of starvation. Naturally, the enraged populace blamed the new governor, Sylphie. Using her Sisters of Eve influence, they then had emergency food supplies brought in on vessels of the N'Diabel family, which were, of course, left alone. Thus, Sylphie made herself champion of the people. And when the governor was driven out of office, Sylphie won the next election by a landslide. Having shattered the reputation of her enemies, she started systematically ruining them financially until she was the undisputed leader of Poydot Station. At the same time, Sylphie strengthened her position as the head of the N'Diabel family. She sent her brothers abroad and kept strict control on their monetary allowances to keep them dependent on her. She also slowly asserted herself as supreme leader on Poydot Station, the brief influence of the populace soon to fade into nothing. In the years since Sylphie N'Diabel became governess, she has regained her father's prominence as the unofficial leader of the leaderless Intaki Syndicate. Her power has never been seriously tested. Although she lost connections with the Sisters of Eve once it was discovered that she had collaborated with the Serpentis Corporation in her bid for black market dominance and in and around the Federation. Sentimona Sarpati, once her good and trusted friend and ally, has turned her back on her, and just as she calls her brother King Sarpati, she now mockingly calls Sylphie Queen Sylphie of the Syndicate, stating that they complement each other perfectly in exploitation and contempt for their fellow humans. All right, so basically, what we can learn from this is that, so Sylphie N'Diabel is this shrewd leader who, interestingly enough, got her power by messing with the people at a station, with her station, until the protest became such that she was she also kind of made herself this hero of the people, right? And that's a really important piece to all of this. It also shows that she has strong connections with both the SOE and potentially the Serpentis, which the Serpentis have stayed fairly out of the news recently, right? Hold on. Where is it? There was a wait. Gosh darn it. Hold on one second. There's a picture. There's an old picture of... Oh, never mind. I'm so dumb. I got confused. A player back in the day made some amazing art of different leaders within Eve, and Sylphie was one of the pictures that they'd made. So the picture that I was thinking in my head was actually made by a player. Never mind. Wonder if there's any changes to the Poydot system because of this. I mean, that would be possibly the next thing. Okay, so all right. So a few other things to point out in all of this before we get any further is to, first of all, hold on. I have, where's my picture? Where's my picture? I had a picture. Hold on. There it is. So, in my conspiracy board, we can see here, so the Intaki Syndicate is connected to Mordu because, Mordu is strongly connected to the Intaki. And so when something happens with the Intaki system, or theoretically with the Syndicate, the Mordu are one of the peoples to get connected. The piece to this also that isn't really mentioned here is the Intaki Bank. The Intaki Bank is its own group, and they are kind of before 2015 they were just kind of known as the money laundering group, in the same way that they say that the Intaki Syndicate are known for where you can buy and sell anything. the Yantey Bank is kind of like almost like the Swiss bank, in the idea that like it's neutral, but it also means that it can be used for all kinds of criminal stuff in theory. But it's very interesting that the Yantey Bank became tied to Upwell, right? When Upwell first was created, which Upwell was created by the original founder of OR. So we have Yantey Atreyu, who creates OR, and then he contracts Mortis Legion in order to defend OR being a Gallente group. But then Yantey retires, and the guy who takes over uses Mordu to attack the Serpentis, which makes everybody mad. Wait, was it Serpentis? No, it was Angels, wasn't it? God damn it. Hold on. YC1 0. No? I'll do this. No! Here we go. Let's see. Where was it? Yeah. The Serpentis Corporation stepped up its operations. Oh yeah. Oh, it was Serpentis. Of course, it was Serpentis. I'm so dumb. Yeah. So the then leader of OR uses the Mortis Legion to attack the Serpentis Corporation and the Angels, I guess, because well, the Angels defend because he's attacking the Serpentis Corporation. That's why I was confused. At any rate, the point is that the Serpentis get mad about this, and so basically buy out OR. And so OR becomes a hostile takeover by the Serpentis. And then when, years later, when Upwell becomes formed, Yantey shows back up. And one of the very first things they do is get Mortis Legion to attack all of the OR facilities and kill all the Serpentis guys and take back over OR and bring OR into Upwell. It's also why like Upwell are the main people that are fighting the Deathless. But that means that the main people fighting the Deathless are Mordu, right? So Upwell directly tied to. I don't think is Mordu actually like a member. I think it's fair to say that Mortis Legion is a member corporation within Upwell at this point. Certainly, the Yantey Bank is, right? So that's a piece to all of this. Now, the thing that I find very interesting about this particular event today is this relationship between Ishikone and Laidai, and what happened today represents for that. So if we go back to the actual New Eden news for the day, we can see that it was actually the Laidai Protection Services. So Laidai are the ones that arrested her, right? Now she was brought in. Where is it? Wait, what? Hold on. Is it not? Wasn't it here? No. Yeah. Sylphie and Diabel summoned to New Caldari for inquest into Yantey and Syndicate involvement in Gate disaster. So it doesn't actually say who pushed that. But remember, so like IMN, which is a part of Evermore, which somehow didn't make it onto my conspiracy board, is helping make this look bad. Okay. And so Sylphie gets summoned to New Caldari and then arrested, which is, I would say, pretty crazy in and of its in its own right? Because like you've summoned a political leader, a leader of another faction, to an inquest, and then arrest them. That seems to be basically they've arrested her under, or they brought her here to be arrested under false pretenses, which is a very lie-die thing to do. They're very shady people. I think that we can assume that it's a CEP, but the CEP is a conglomeration of the different megacorporations, and we're actually dividing out the differing goals between the different Caldari megacorporations. So it's important to kind of try to keep an eye out on all the different pieces that are happening, right? Now, the House of Records, I think, is more neutral, but the fun thing about the House of Records is, so the House of Records are connected to Archive K, and the one thing that we do know about the House of Records is that, well, a couple things. First of all, they are one of the ones that got raided by the Guristas to expose the financial malfeasance of Lydai and the Forest faction, so there's that. Also, the House of Records, one of the only person that we know of, that I know of, in the House of Records, or that was in the House of Records, was a guy, girl? Either way, a Detis person, that's a type of Caldari, by the way, who was the point of contact for the Amarian Inquisitor during Sinewave Omega, who went by the codename Card Player. And the thing that's interesting about this is that person from the House of Records is now, as far as I know, like basically second in command of Edencom Intelligence. And the Amar guy is now the top person in Edencom Intelligence. And so when we talk about things like, oh, Edencom is an Amarian plot, Amar gets accused of spying on the Caldari through Edencom, this House of Records thing, or specifically that character within it, is potentially a big piece to all of this. And then, of course, Archive K was attacked by, or raided by the House of Records was raided by the Guristas in part of their efforts to expose and undermine Lydai. So I feel like this network of people are all kind of potentially in Lydai's corner. This is really important because I think that the other half of this conspiracy, i.e., where is it? This part. So Akimaka Saraki on the left here, he is part of Kalakiota, which is part of the Mountain faction, who have allied themselves with Ishikone, the Ocean faction, largely. And I think that they also had some major benefits from building up facilities within the Syndicate area, but I don't remember that one 100%. So we've talked about before that it seems that, like, ever since Saraki has gotten in power, it seems that, like, there's a lot of shifting around where contracts and things that were good for Lydai end up becoming problems or being shut down, or money is being shunted away from it or whatever. And projects that support Ishikone, like, for instance, Air, are getting a lot more support. So if you assume that Dekasi is part of some bigger conspiracy, which, remember, Dekasi comes into power during this point of conflict within with Concord, where when the Amar start putting down the stellar transmuters, there's a bunch of, like, protests about that. People are trying to pull people and stuff, evacuate, that's the word I was looking for, the systems that had the stellar transmuters, but the Amar were trying to stop that effort. And this leads to, like, as this controversy is going on, the head of Interbus dies from a heart attack. His son nominates Dekasi, who's an otherwise relatively unknown. He immediately reorganizes all of Interbus into its own independent group, Evermore, founds a bunch of extra groups, including this IMN group, and also releases their artificial intelligence that it seems that they've been working on a lot longer than just a couple of days. So, there is a lot of suspicion involving Dekasi, and if there's something going on with Dekasi, he's likely, like, if one of the empires was involved in Dekasi's rise to power, it would have been the Amar. Okay, so once again, we see these weird contacts between Kalakeota, Ishikone, and some of the Amar leadership. And this is important because Laidai made a lot of their money, their original money, by supporting the Amarians with missile launchers. You've noticed that there's a lot of Amar ships that use missile launchers, especially Khanid ships. And that comes largely from contracts with Laidai. However, I was trying to hunt down all these sorts of things because that actually leads into a problem, right? Because if the Intaki are connected to Ishikone, which there's multiple connections between Khanid, sorry, not Khanid, but Ishikone and the Intaki, and really the Caldari Galente in general, like things with the administration, and also Mordu, because you have administration of Caldari Prime. They actually are Ishikone are arguably the owners of Intaki Prime from a Caldari point of view, etc., etc. So, like, it would suck if, you know, like, my conspiracy board would fall apart if Mordu was connected to both Ishikone and Laidai. Laidai are the ones that make all the missile launchers, so I was concerned about this. So I was looking into the Mordu's Legion today, and here's this. So, so yeah, Ishikone and Laidai, or Ishikone and Mordu's Legion, work together to secure Intaki Prime, yada yada yada. But then we get this. In YC116, the Mordu's Legion reportedly fielded new ship designs from what seemed like a shakedown cruises and their home region, as well as the operation in the Intaki system. Shipping reports in Intaki specifically highlighted unknown silhouettes dispersed, blah, 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 blah. Disclosed statistics for the ship displayed a preference for advanced missile technology and long-range warp drive disruption, seemingly derived from both Caldari and Galente technology. More importantly, these new ship classes are entirely designed from ground up to accommodate capsule and command systems. Unlike their older Caldari designs, which have been mostly traditional bridge crew operated with very few capsuleer pilots. Blah, blah, blah. This has re-sparked speculation surrounding the nature of the relationship between Mordu's Legion and the Caldari and Galente partners. Ishikone, not only known for their introduction of capsuleer technology granted to them by the Jove Empire, has been major influences in the development of missile technology now prevalent in most Caldari ship designs today. It was later revealed that the Legion had acquired the use of one of Ishikone's think tanks to help design a new ship fitting the needs of the Legion and in their new roles of the Intaki. The same think tank was recently credited with the development of the new Advanced Target Spectrum Breaker system. So, Ishikone are the ones that provided the missile systems for Mordu's Legion, which means, so, okay, Upwell had pretty strong connections with Laidai, especially through Propel Dynamics. There's connections between Ishikone, or Upwell, and Laidai in the fact that Laidai helped build a bunch of the Edencom stuff, or sorry, the Upwell stuff. If I remember correctly, Laidai's tech is used in Upwell manufacturing a lot. But this means that the missile systems were tied to Ishikone, which is important because the Upwell haulers say, with Upwell shipping lanes facing new increased threats from the emergence of the Deathless Circle and rising pirate activity in YC125, Mordu's Legion was brought on board as co-designer, outfitting the Squall with an array of missile defenses, despite being a hauler. So the hauler itself was produced by OR, which is a member corporation of Upwell, and the missile launchers were installed by Mordu, which, again, this means that while Laidai might have helped with some of the initial stuff with Upwell, and definitely were tied into some of the Edencom stuff, the actual new Upwell ships and a lot of these Mordu's defenses would not have been associated with Lydai at the very least. All right, so why does any of this matter? Why does any of this matter? Because okay, so what I think I'm trying to suggest is it is possible that the forest or mountain, sorry, the ocean or mountain faction, in coordination with potentially the Yantey Syndicate, but it could just be a couple of dudes, and possibly the Amar Empire, conspired to cause all this stuff to happen. We know most of what we know is from people like Aki Makasaraki, who is at the very least like a bane to the forest faction. So if the drive here is to basically remove support from the Caldari of Jita, which Jita has become the cash cow for Lydai and the rest of the forest faction. So if they can crack that off, then that's great. But now we have this whole thing with the Syndicate, right? Because I've tried to figure out who benefited the most from the Yantey Syndicate expansion by the Caldari, and I haven't really gotten too much locked in on that. You know, as in like, oh, Lydai benefited more than these guys or whatever. Honestly, the people who benefited the most from the Syndicate expansion was Quaif, oddly enough. But the point is that like this whole thing kind of sets up this situation where the Syndicate is now completely in play. I know there's a lot of tinfoil to all this. Not all of it is totally connected yet. I hope you guys can appreciate that this is just where I'm at the moment. But what I think, let me just talk for a second about what I think is actually happening. Let's step out of the lore for a minute and realize what's actually happening, like from a game point of view. Okay, what I think is actually happening here is we have military campaigns coming up, right? Military campaigns are very similar to like what's happening right now, where there's like different tasks or whatever that needs to be done or whatever. And this is the big feature that's coming in the expansion that will be announced in like 2 weeks. Well, of course, Quaif did the best. Everyone's mind controlled by them. Yes, and there is. So Quaif is also actually no. I could just draw a line. Quaif is directly tied to Lydai. Actually, now that I think about it, but I don't have time to go down every single one of these rabbit holes. We've covered these in a lot of different videos. So if you guys have questions, go for it. But otherwise, we're just going to try to jump through stuff. Hey, what's up? Hi, Mom. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. During Uprising, which was, again, CCP decided to like change the universe, or yeah, like this was their return to expansions. And so one of the big things that happened as part of the Uprising events was that the Caldari took their little constellation in Syndicate. Where is it? So now the Caldari have this constellation within Syndicate. But we now have this issue where like, so this worked under this political agreement. And thanks to the New Eden news from a couple days ago and today, we know that this agreement is basically fallen apart. And more importantly, the Caldari have completely stopped doing their part of the bargain. All of the extra access or whatever that the Yantey got from this agreement, the Caldari have shut them out. Which means now the Caldari just owns this constellation within the Syndicate and own a system that's 3 jumps from Poidot. Because up until now, the Syndicate has thought that the Caldari was going to be their bigger ally. But now the Caldari has literally arrested their leader. which is going to make them rethink this whole process, right? So this entire political order here is completely thrown out. No tinfoil, no nothing. This arrangement is now completely broken. And when CCP set this up, I have a reasonable belief that they did not have like a full-on plan of where it was going with this. But I think that maybe they do. I put this under a video a couple weeks ago and you didn't have it yesterday. There is a beeping noise when you speak. More pronounced when I say, hey, what's up? Oh, yeah, you did mention something about that. I don't know why. I know there's like a high-pitched hum or whatever, and that's just for my computer, and I don't know how to fix that per se. I don't know if they had a plan. I think that they had ideas, and then those ideas never really manifested. But the point is that they've got military campaigns coming up. And so that if we understand how military campaigns work, there's going to basically be an empire will have a set of goals that they want to have that need to be achieved. And then if all of those goals are accomplished by the player base, or whether or not all of those goals get accomplished by the player base, that will, when the military campaign concludes, that will cause some sort of noticeable change in the future. So think like the Othanoon Stargate, right? Right. Once all of the objectives for the Othanoon Stargate was completed, congratulations, the next major patch or whatever, now the Caldari have a Stargate there, right? So in the same sort of way, they're going to want to do these military campaigns. But military campaigns are going to be relatively short, probably. And they need things for them to have impact on. And so putting the entire region of Syndicate in question, hell of a way to do it, right? So this is no longer like, originally we were like, oh shit, is Intaki going to go independent or not? That matters because it's the war headquarters, all that sort of stuff. Then when Jita became attacked, we're like, oh shit, they're going to go like 1 for 1, aren't they? Like Jita's going to become independent and Intaki might become independent. That'd be pretty cool. But this further steps it up even more, where it's like, actually, Jita, the entire Intaki Syndicate, and Intaki are all now in play. Because you even see, in response to this, oh no, I have so many things now up. From the news today, we can see that President Moreau is offering amnesty for the descendants of exiles. So now we actually have like multiple end states that could come from this. We could have it be the Caldari get kicked out, and this is now all Syndicate region again, you know, whatever. Oh, by the way, one other thing I do want to point out from this story, when they say not to waste their time setting up a trial, I think that I mean, like, people have been like, oh, there might be an attack or whatever, and that could be true. But we also know from what we just read about Sylphie, her dad died by a freak accident. Right? Which means his mind couldn't be transferred to his clone. Not all baseliners have clones. But this shows that, and so I was kind of suspicious about whether or not Sylphie would have a clone. The chances that Sylphie would travel to Jita 4-4 without backing herself up ahead of time, very low. So they don't actually need to break Sylphie out in order to, get this. This is now in the news. At this point, if Sylphie can just manage to pod herself, then she will wake back up in Syndicate space, probably on Poidot, and check the news and then get very pissed off, right? So the Caldari, I think, are in a very weak position right now, but this could cause war between the Syndicate and the Caldari, which would mean that the Syndicate might want to fight over, or the Caldari might want to fight over the Syndicate. And if the Caldari fight over the Syndicate, guess what? The Gallente are already prepared to step in to be the heroes of the Intaki. Let's bring us all back together, guys. I was elected president of the Federation, supported by the Intaki autonomists. I believe in Intaki autonomy. So if you just rejoin the Federation will ensure your autonomy, especially against the corrupting influence of corporate malfeasance within the Caldari state. Like, the script, like, writes itself. So what I think is actually happening here is I think that all of these pieces, potentially even Jita 4-4, definitely the Syndicate, and probably even Intaki Prime, are all potentially points of influence for a military campaign. That's really what they're trying to do here. It's like, they could do a military campaign, they could do multiple military campaigns if you wanted to, and like make ownership of the various systems be this like we talked about it before, where they could extend faction warfare into nullsec. That's what I always thought that this could have been. This actually creates the reason why faction warfare is in this area of space for a period of time. Like, for instance, long enough for a military campaign. What would have happened if Rodin would have won instead? I don't know. I think Rodin would have just attacked as soon as Jita became blow up. I don't know. I'm not sure. Honestly, probably not that much different at this point so far. So yeah, I think that this is kind of my tinfoil. Is like, I think that this is kind of where this is all going and why this is such a big deal. There's a couple of other pieces to this that's interesting, though, which is SOE sends a delegation to Jita as humanitarian crisis worsens, and Reverend Mother Santamona Serpati declines to comment on Diabel's arrest. Now, remember, Sylphie used to be friends with Santamona Serpati. There is a chronicle that is not here. Now I know for a fact that I even remember what the chronicle is now, so I don't know why I was unable to find it. Or like this? Santamona Serpati? No. It's the Anti-Chronicle. That's what I'm looking for. In the Anti-Chronicle, you see a conversation between Santamona Serpati and Sylphie. And if I remember correctly, Santamona is pretty snidey to Sylphie. They're talking about things like the VEP. I show this off during my previous talk about Sylphie, but again, that was like 3 years ago. So, reaching back and putting our shoulders into the effort, Santamona whirled around suddenly, lashing out with an open palm to strike Sylphie across the face. Hold on, let me back up a couple of paragraphs. Yeah, and Mortis Legion is involved in this. Hold on. Hold on. First of all, this is from 2012. So this is 2010. Sorry, this is from 2010. Not, it's YC112. Okay, Sylphie was standing with her back to the door when Santamona entered the meeting room. An oddly shaped octagonal chamber with small metal walls that curve inward near the ceiling to create a geometric pattern of etched reliefs. Despite opposite the doors was a wide double-pane window looking out on Intaki 5's capital city, Lenokia. Its fat roof buildings boiling in the red afternoon sun. She didn't move at all in response to the Reverend Mother's arrival. So, where are they? Hold on. Where are they? Why are they on Intaki Prime? A ship has arrived, he began, glancing in each direction to make sure no one else was in earshot before continuing. A Syndicate ship. The woman pulled her hood back over her shoulders, revealing a tight bun of thick brown hair in place with an ornate ivy clip. She folded her hands into the sleeve of her robe before chiding the messenger. I believe this is a matter of local authorities can handle, my child. The Syndicate knows their place. So if they... not they, Reverend... Okay, so this is... So The Reverend Mother is here. That's why. She inhaled as if to say something else, then stopped abruptly and looked around the room. When they finally did finish her thought, she spoke a little too loudly, prompting more than a few bystanders to take notice. Sylphie is here? Yes, Reverend Mother. She waits for you in the rectory. Okay, so that's why. I was told there'd be rain today or tomorrow, she said to the window. Sentimona loosened her silk robe. They have a little bit of small talk. Thank you for seeing me on such a short notice, Miss Sarpati. I'm not quite certain why you wish to speak to me, actually. Is your station experiencing another food shortage? Again, reference to the fact that the food shortage was like this plot between the two of them in order to get her power. So Sylphie turned at last to look her in the eyes, but refraining from reacting to Sentimona's repeated jabs at their tumultuous history. Instead, she copied her smile and played along. No, but you have the Syndicate's continued thanks for the sisters' assistance in that matter. Sentimona nodded appreciatively, but also for appearance sake, she continued counting quietly to herself, 28, 27, 26. How are your efforts proceeding here on Antaki 5? Sylphie says. Will you be here much longer? As I'm sure you remember, Sentimona replies, the cathedral is always our last item of business for any project. I'm sorry, but I'm not exactly certain what your title is these days. How should I address you? Syndicate titles are purely for internal use, so you needn't worry about them. I have, however, returned to using my family name. Sylphie paused for a few moments, looking at Sentimona inquisitively. Do you know what Ndiabel translates to, roughly, in the original Intaki dialect? Knowing that she wasn't really expected to answer the rhetorical question, Sentimona simply raised her eyebrows and waited for Sylphie to continue her train of thought. Good, she said with a smirk. How much longer? Okay. Now I want to know what Ndiabel translates to roughly in the original Intaki dialect. It doesn't say? Either way. Okay. How much longer? 2-1 now. Sentimona lunged forward on the table as Sylphie hurriedly took the opposite seat and closed in as well. When she next spoke, the sister had an urgent hush tone. Quote, it was a little more than difficult to time the punctuated recordings of this facility. So, since it's so new, when the sensors realign during the log, everything between now and the point when it resumes will look like a momentary glitch, which the operator will probably chalk up to his sunspot activity. We might only have a few minutes. So, even though they're supposedly not friendly with each other, Sentimona is the person that's aware of what's going on, and there's this like glitch that makes it so that now they can communicate without being overheard. And Sentimona's obviously in on it. So okay. That's all we need if everything's in place. If that old crusty merc refuses to talk to me directly, you need to convince him that including us is going to be much easier than locking us out. Sylphie slammed her hand down on the table to conclude the statement. The merc, guess who they're talking about? And if he refuses, Sylphie turns her head and clutches her jaws. Tell that treacherous son of a bitch that the Syndicate isn't going to sit idly by as another government ignores us. And if Menz thinks those pedantic mercenaries are going to hinder our business one bit, he is sorely mistaken. So she's talking about the Ishikone CEO, Menz Repola. Leaning forward and composing herself, she spoke calmly. What I mean is that we have something to offer both entities if we are brought in on the deal. During her brief emotional response, a lock of hair escaped, blah, 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 blah. So the Sylphie says that they have something to offer both Mordu and Menz Repola, Ishikone. Reaching out across the table, Sentimona gently pushes the loose hair back from Sylphie's ear and smiled. Yes, that's more like it. Flies with honey. What do you think that he'll say, Mona? That depends on what you're offering him. Remember that you have two flanks to address, and in my experience, Moria can be very difficult. Now we know it's Moria Mordu. Tell him that the Federation hasn't controlled trade in this system for decades, and that if he wants that blood money from Menz to keep appearing in his bank account, he'll learn to respect the local culture. Remember, Ishikone stopped from this point on, like after this, not necessarily connected to this, but Ishikone and Mordu worked together on Intaki, not on Intaki, but Kaldari Prime. But recently, Mordu has been distracted by other things and has been less supportive of Ishikone, probably. And so this is all talking about the Zephyr shuttles, which were a thing that was given out by the SOE, and it turns out it was just a spy tool. Now, he's not at all happy about your little stunt with the Zephyr shuttles. Everyone who produces shuttles took a noticeable hit when you did that. If you offer the right commodity, I'm sure he'll reciprocate. I think I have just the thing his corporation would appreciate. There's a funny story behind those shuttles, by the way, but I don't think we have time for it. You're right, 12, 11, 10. She's talking about like how long until the recording goes on. She goes, mirroring her posture, she stood by the seat. Sylphie leaned forward in the table once again and shot her counterpart a suggestive grin. After a few seconds of silence, she asked, do you ever miss it? Every day. Miss what? Is it the intrigue? Is it the conspiracy? Is it the political machinations? What is it that she's supposedly missing every day that Santa Mona, or that Sylphie would be like teasily asking her about, right? Reaching about it, putting her shoulder into the effort, Santa Mona whirled around suddenly, lashing out with one open palm to strike Sylphie across the face. The impact sharp crack echoed around the room as Sylphie tumbled backwards over her chair, landing on the floor in a disheveled heap. But remember, this is as soon as the recording comes back on, right? Shrieking at the top of her lungs, Santa Mona stormed around the table, pointing accusingly at the prone target. Does your arrogance have no bounds? When Sylphie had recovered enough to sit up and wipe the trickle of blood from the corner of her mouth, the sister continued, I won't jeopardize this honorable organization to subsidize your criminal agenda. You're pathetic, Sylphie finally uttered, pulling herself up and immediately assuming the defensive position. Beyond the doors, she could hear the security escort arguing with the sister's V guards stationed there. Quote, I can see right through you, sister. You're insane if you don't think the Intaki are going to figure out why you're really here. This was your last chance to get through this with any semblance of your obsolete cult intact. It's worth noting that like it was the religious, like a lot of temples and religious centers were raided by Lydai during the Intaki raids in like 2018, I think. But like this really like when the recording was off, they were very friendly with each other. I mean, very friendly is a strong word, but you know, we're coyly working with each other. And then as soon as the cameras come back on, basically they break out in this big fight. Okay, maybe shouldn't be taken as seriously as you know, whatever. Let's see. I should have known you'd never change, Sylphie. Get off this planet. Glaring at the Reverend Mother spitefully, Sylphie shook her head and stalked out of the room, her escorts hustling to keep up with her determined pace. They marched through the cathedral without stopping until they reached the gangplank of the dropship. Sylphie turned to face the ornate building, her eyes following the swooning architecture up to the steeple near the top, which was emblazoned with the Sisters of Eve Holy Crest. Sadistic witch, she spat. So she does seem kind of legitimately mad about it, though. In the cathedral's security chief office, Santa Mona watched Sylphie intently on the holographic display, with her sentries still nearby and the chief respectively out of the way so the older woman could use the station. She studied Sylphie's every move, frowning as the Syndicate official leader spit on the ground in contempt before boarding her ship. I often wonder which is more perplexing, the fact that she abandoned the sisterhood or that she was ever allowed to join in the first place. Brand new to Eve as of 2 months ago. This is the second stream of yours I've watched. Great job on the lore. What would you recommend best video to watch for the summary of lore history? I have a lore speedrun video that I made a few years back. I do like that is still probably one of the better like foundational catch-up videos, but the problem is that there's a lot. Even I'm still piecing this all together now, right? So but the returning to Eve, not return, the lore speedrun is a big one, and then there's been a couple of other bigger lore videos recently. I should have a lore playlist that should have a bunch of stuff for you. I have made multiple 8-hour videos just trying to cover sub pieces of the lore. So, okay, so Sylphie tapped the controls. Replaced by a 3-dimensional head of the older man covered in elaborate facial tattoos, which I talked about last time we talked about this. I think that means that he might be Mimitar, if not Thucker. Mr. LeConte. Has the other families reached consensus? Yes. They've agreed to your plans. So what's the next move? Consolidate all the data received from the Zephyr program. Everything these oblivious capsuleers have given us on wormhole space. Prepare the data cores for immediate transport. A representative from the Sisters of Evil will be arriving shortly to take possession. This is... Wait, hold on. Hold on. Oh, God. Oh, no. Okay. Okay. I mean... Huh. All right. Okay. Hold on. I was wrong. I was wrong. Earlier, I said that this... And I've probably said... maybe I've had this discovery before. I feel like I've managed to discover this, or we've been over this before. But I keep thinking that the Zephyr was an SOE plot, but it wasn't. It was a Syndicate plot. Hold on a second. So what did they say? That's right. I think I talked about this last time too. I keep messing this up. I'm sorry. Hold on. Who says the thing about the Zephyr then? Okay, hold on. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. Sylphie leaned back in her chair and crossed her arms. Tell him that the Federation hasn't controlled trade, blah, blah, blah. He'll learn to respect culture. Yeah, he's not at all happy about your little stunt about the Zephyr shuttles. I'm sorry. So, the Zephyr shuttles was a Syndicate plot. Okay. That's probably an important thing to note. Consolidate all data received from the Zephyr program. Everything in this oblivious capsuleers has given us in wormhole space. Prepare the data cores for immediate transport. A representative from the Sisters of Eve will be arriving shortly to take possession. Wait, okay. So... I think you've really nailed this one, Sylphie. That's precisely the kind of token Ishikone would not be able to resist. So all of the data cores being transferred from the Syndicate to SOE is somehow beneficial to Ishikone, which now in the modern day, Ishikone has teamed up with SOE to build air in order to take money from Lydai and work with Concord. Okay. All right, okay. So, wait. Hold on. We are on like the bleeding edge of me figuring things out. I swear to God. I'm sorry if this is... I hope this is entertaining. I know some of you guys have said that it's entertaining to watch me try to figure things out. Here we are. It is also worth... Wait, okay. This is totally conspiratorial and probably, whatever. But have you ever noticed that the probe launcher for the Zephyr has the same name as the AI for air? Or no, air, not air. Evermore. Evermore's AI is also named Iris. Not that the word Iris is that unusual, but it is fun. That's fun. I like that. That's a fun thing. Hold on. All right. Where is... I'm back to Auntie real quick. Hold on. I need this guy's name. LeConte. I did look this up last time too, I thought, but now I can't remember if I figured out anything. Hold on. LeConte. No. It looks like he's only used this one time. Both people named Lecante in game are Galente, which leads me to believe it might be a Galente name, but it's somebody with tattoos. Have the other families reached consensus? It's all they data from the Zephyr program. Everything those oblivious capsules have given us in wormhole space. Prepare the data cores for immediate transport. A representative from this people will be arriving shortly to take possession. I think you've really nailed this one. This is precisely the kind of token Ishikone won't be able to resist. I know. She spent the remainder of the journey back to Syndicate space, staring out the window of her cabin, unable to conceal her nostalgic smile. So she started this whole thing then. This is 2010. Thera occurred 2 years later. No, 4 years later. But we know, well, our access to Thera occurred 4 years later. Do we know when the Katydid discovered Thera? Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. That would be Cat and Mouse. YC117. Is it Cat and Mouse? It's not Cat and Mouse. It's Eye of the Needle. It's Eye of the Needle. Okay, so Eye of the Needle, 2012. Okay, hold on. All right. So we have Thucker Tribe, Zakari, piloting the Conidid, associated with the lost tribe of Taya. Wait, did we already talk? Have I? Oh my god, I might actually just lose my mind right now on stream. Okay, so Hayakir is such a name to come up. God, I wish this was my job. Hey man, help me make it my job by supporting the channel. All right, so okay, all right. So in 2008, the Apocrypha event occurs. This opens up the wormholes, right? Everybody's investigating the wormholes. One of the main people that are investigating the wormholes is Lydai, which puts Ishikone on the back foot. But Lydai's big exploration vessel disappears. And so that's a big crisis or whatever. But like understanding and getting to like better map out the wormholes, critical thing. So then the Syndicate releases the Zephyrs, which, by the way, I didn't cover this before, but like the fancy thing about, the fancy thing about Zephyrs is that they do not get engaged by sleepers. Like they were put out by CCP to us, so that way we could go explore different like sleeper sites without having to fight all the sleepers, right? So you can even see here, it says, will not be targeted by sleeper drones and wormhole systems. So this ship is completely immune to sleepers and also have their own probe launcher so they can get around, right? So it's designed to help for like just sightseeing in wormhole space. But it turned out, originally conceived by the aesthetic Intaki polymath Valsas and Dalat as a demonstration of the minimalist starship design, it was never intended as a commercial venture. The recent discovery of the uncharted sleeper territories and their myriad wormholes has brought the Zephyr new attention. Its mass makes it an ideal exploration vessel. Valsas remains adamant that the Zephyr never sees mass production, but at the close of YC111, he authorized the Intaki Syndicate to distribute a single hull to every registered capsuleer. And then it turns out that all of that is in order to just collect a whole bunch of data and telemetry in order to give that data to the Sisters of Eve. And it would seem that the Sisters of Eve used that data to work with the Thucker to hunt down a very special system that they somehow knew was special even before they found it, right? Because we have basically this entire story, which I think I've even done a full recording of this story, is basically them looking for the what would eventually become Thera, right? Because they come in, they go to this other place. They're called candidate systems, and so they are checking to see if it's correct. They're looking. So they had been surveying for candidate system 6 for the better part of 12 hours, and Zakari could tell the entire crew was in need of a break. It was becoming apparent that all candidate 6 that candidate 6 was not the hoped for wormhole nexus system that the Sanctuary School had been searching for over the past months. So, okay, so the Sanctuary get all of this data from the Syndicate, and that puts them on this goose chase for a let's extend this a little bit further out. Why not? So that puts the Sisters of Eve on this chase to find this supposed nexus system. And we can see here at the very end, sensors indicate several outer planets, various types in inner zone, and numerous terrestrials. The innermost pair of planets show signs of shattering similar to those to that seen in previous candidate locations. This system stands out as extremely capricious, and probes are returning multiple wormhole signatures. Could it be Lucky 7, right? And then it says excerpt from log made on the discovery of the Thera system in YC128.05.01. So this would be this is like at least 3 months after this interaction with the between Sarpati and Diabel. So okay, so that this is referring to the creation of Thera, or at least the discovery of Thera. And so they discover that. So what the Zephyr figures out is that there are wormhole systems that are not connected to the current wormhole network. Like there are systems that are the nexus points for these for the wormholes that we know of, but we're not necessarily wait, hold on. Yeah, YC110 you're right. YC112, which is 2010, but both of these are happening in YC112. So sorry if I said it wrong, but either way. Okay, so and that was valuable to Ishikone. I bet you if we keep digging into this, we're going to find even more connections between Ishikone and Sisters of Eve. But for now, I feel like that's a big one. Sorry, I'm looking at my whiteboard. But do we have anywhere else that we can go from this? Okay, so golly. All right. So this brings really strong connections between Ishikone and SOE even before the formation of Air. It shows that Ishikone and SOE and Syndicate were interested in wormhole space a long time ago. And Sylphie is technically owed one from the SOE and Ishikone because of all of this. Man, I'm not sure if I can get these threads any closer together quite yet, but I feel like I've at least proven my point that like there really feels like there's a there. I keep saying that. I still think she meant it to get arrested. Look at Sylphie's mugshot in the article. That's the face of a crime leader is that the face of a crime leader that's worried or faced multiple capsular sympathies ahead of an upcoming event? No, you're absolutely. Like I said, I think that first of all, CCP is really bad at taking pictures of people while they're smiling or looking happy. So this just kind of look. I mean, like you can say, does that look like a person who does this? But like, okay, Does this look like a person who was just elected president of the Federation? Either way, the point is that between cloning and everything else, I think there's something going on here. Like, I think that they're in on it. I think that Ishikone's involved. I think that this is all a design to hurt and to discredit and disgrace Lydai. I think that it's not a coincidence that Sukavesta's CEO, which remember, Sukavesta's mountain faction compares the Syndicate to the Guristas, because they like to shit on the Guristas, but again, if we actually look at what the Guristas do, they almost exclusively harass Lydai. Although, interestingly enough, there's been a lot of stuff with the Guristas operating in Syndicate space. So I think that there might be like another piece to all of this, where like the Syndicate space was given to the Mountain faction, but then the Guristas were fucking with it, and so maybe the Mountain faction don't like the Guristas as much, or maybe don't realize that Ishikone is directly supported by the Guristas. That's what a robot that got elected president looks like. Okay, yeah, fair. You know what? That's fair. What do the Calori have the most other groups do not have? They have those wires. Not an Eve Tycoon, only contract. My deputy in game sacrificed so much to get only 2 of the New Eden currently. What? I mean, they have subcranial nanocontrollers and whatever, the transneural microcontrollers. Yeah, well, I guess, you know, I feel like I'm going to just leave this here right now, with my conspiracies and tinfoils. If any, we will have to pay very close attention as things go on. You know, we can see that there's a lot of interesting information about this, but ultimately, like, these different players, like, I think that Moreau is definitely putting a power play in trying to bring the entirety of the Intaki Syndicate back under Gallente Federation control. Because if you look at it, like you can see, like, it would make sense, right? Here's the Gallente Federation, like, bringing the syndicate into the Federation would just make total sense to the Gallente. Any of you speculating what the story development will be for capital sites next week? It's a Titan doomsdaying something. So it's going to be an escalation in the conflict, and it's only going to be in low sec. So they're going to have to explain that away. But it's going to be a direct strike. The problem is, I think that the events are still tied to the mercenary groups, which the mercenary groups have largely not been outed. Even the individual mercenaries that we see in game are kind of independent people, but we don't know who's contracting it. We don't know if it's Deathless Network. We don't know if it's other merc contract groups or anything like that. No, yeah, like, yeah. Can you imagine? Like, it would be a massive feather in Alex's cap if she pulls it off. She might even smile. Yeah, she might actually smile. Who knows? Probably not. But I think that a lot of this is a gambit where Ishikone is using their contacts within the Amar, the CEP, and the Syndicate in order to put Lydai and their allies into a crisis state and kind of drive them out of power within the state. Probably hand Jita over to Takasi and Evermore, and the Syndicate falls to the Gallente. I think that's what Ishikone wants, and that's the offer. I don't know why the Syndicate has gotten in on this exactly, but I think that that's what the offer is, and I think that Air and Exordium and all these different pieces kind of play into this. It really does feel like Ishikone and their allies, especially through the chairman Akimaka Saraki, have really tried to like twist every single screw within their power in order to undermine and tear down Lidai and their allies. And so yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. If any of this made any sense to anybody, you know, if any of this made any sense to you, please like the stream or the video. If you're watching this live, hang tight. If you're not, thank you. Please, again, either way, please put a comment down below. Let me know. Am I right? Am I crazy? Am I both? Is there any other piece? I keep focusing on Ishikone and Lidai. Is there anywhere else that I really need to zero in on this, like where this goes, especially within the state? Is there anything else on here that there's relationship with the Conid, Propel Dynamics? I don't know. There's a lot of other criminal groups to dig into, especially within the Caldari state. But again, I think that I'm going to just put this up for now. This is where we're at. And that's it. I'm going to wrap this up for the edited version. We're going to do the giveaway for the... We do a giveaway during the streams a lot of the time now. Today we're going to do a custom skin. So we're going to get to that next. But if you're watching this on the edited version, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching it live, hang tight. But with all that said, I've been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put EV into context for you, my fellow Empyreans. I don't know if I did a great job of putting into context for today, but at least I let you know that the context is way bigger than what you might have thought. But I do want to give a special shout out and thank you to all of my Immortal tier supporters: 745 MPSI, Arydanika the Queen, Bad Boy Smooth, Evo Elite, Erladis, Elange, Flash Gordon, Grims, May, Malak Starfire, Malin, Mercuton, Maik, Michael, Neelam, LM1, Sheesh, Susuro, Thrans, and Rid. Thank you all so much. If you want to join those wonderful people in helping make this stream possible, you can do so by becoming a member or a patron or picking up some merch like this Convocation of Empyreans mug. You can also come hang out with us and become part of the Convocation of Empyreans and EVE. We maximize player engagement with EVE Online. You can also use the code down below if you haven't before in order to get your free million skill points. That's 40 days of free training for an alpha, 20 days for Omega, and it helps those who make this channel and the Convocation possible. Thank you all so much. Once again, live people, hang tight. Everybody else, I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and I'll see you in space. Whee! I forgot to do the fish thing yesterday, and somebody got on to me about it. Okay. Who got Rob? To be more aggressive since the invasion of Intaki and diplomacy stuff. I mean, the Caldari have been really much like in a strong footing, but they do keep getting messed with. I don't know if I'm right, but it makes a good storyline. Maybe we might be right. Okay. I'm gonna do 2 custom skins today. By the way, I will also say, now that we're doing these giveaways with skins on a long-term basis, if you do want to donate to be able to allow me to do more giveaways and stuff, I've now decided that I'm going to like spend anytime I'm going to spend Plex on this account, I'm probably going to do it on stream just so I can be fully disclosed for you guys. So if anybody sends Ashtarothi Plex or SKINR materials, it will go to making more skins for more giveaways and stuff like that. So that is an option if you guys are interested, but by no means do you need to. I've got plenty at the moment, just throwing that out there. But to that end, I need to make 2 custom skins today. I'm going to make one for myself and then one for everybody else, for a giveaway. Because the problem is, this skin I love. I love this skin so much. It looks pretty. I don't know how good it looks on the stream, but it looks great in game. I have a problem, which is that my ship of choice for this event is the Wolf. It would be nice for more stuff like the Shipcast where we rebuild stuff instead of just being shitty event. Well, so that's the whole point of military campaigns. This is just the pre-version of the military campaigns. So that nice version that you're asking for, Blue Jay, is coming starting probably next, like in a month or so, right? Because in 2 weeks we get the Fan Fest, and I can't. my prediction is that the expansion will be very shortly after Capsuleer Day ends. So basically sometime next month. And then from then on, it's just like we now have military campaigns. That means there'll almost always be something going on that, depending on how it plays out, will impact the game in some pretty critical way. And because it's going to be like either the first, one of the early military campaigns are going to be a major place for Vanguard to be tied into. Should have mentioned that in the whole thing, where like all of this is designed to kind of lead towards some sort of Vanguard thing, right? Expansion at the end of May. Well, again, so yeah, I think mid to late May is very reasonable for the expansion. They said the expansion and the rest of Exordium open after FanFest. Yeah, well, they said that the Exordium will open before FanFest. Oh, sorry, before the expansion, I think. So what I think is going to happen, my prediction, is that somehow during the last week of the event, we're going to get Exordium opening. And then I actually predict, and Malak, I think, agrees with me, that we might get the expansion as early as like the first week of May. Because like as soon as the in 41 days. No, Thrans, they didn't put Thrans. They did not put the number of days to the expansion as of the day the skin was added. Because even then they planned to release it yesterday, so it would have been 42. No, and it also would have been a lot funnier to be 42. Yeah, gate activates on FanFest just like Zarzak opened on FanFest. Yeah, I think it's going to be something closer to that. But then that means that the expansion is going to be somewhere within the first couple of I actually think first half of May, personally. Because like it's become more and more common in games like this to like have your FanFest or whatever it is and then announce that like in 2 weeks the expansion's coming. Because that gives everybody enough time to come home, but also not enough time to stop being excited about the thing that you just announced. So my prediction is we're about 3 to 4 weeks, well, 4 to 5 weeks away from the expansion. Doesn't make sense to have the event during this event. The event during this? You mean the expansion during the event? Yeah, I imagine it's going to be shortly after the expansion. Will be right after the event ends, essentially. We could ask some gaming site to leak an article like last. CCP has already leaked so much information about this expansion, though. I like hesitate to even think of anything else that might be in it. Oh, I'm dumb. You're right. Today's May. This is May. Now is May. The event ends the 2nd of June. So yes, I'm sorry. Correction. I think that the expansion will happen within the first half of June. My bad. There you go. Which would be 5 weeks? 4 to 5 weeks, right? Well, I guess, yeah, because the event that's a month long just started. So yeah, 4 to 5 weeks, maybe 6 or 7. That's my guess. And then, like I said, once that happens, it's game on. We have military campaigns now. This is going to become more like the norm than something special. Like these kinds of events. Make it May? No, I'm sorry. It's not going to happen in May. It's not going to happen in May. The expansion is not coming this month. I will plex your account if you no. I don't know. All right, so anywho, I need to make a SKINR skin. I have all my settings turned like a lot lower down now, so that way I don't have any more problems because my video card is now it's getting pretty fucking old. So unfortunately, I think I had to turn down my settings, and I also moved to my monitor that is smaller. So trying to alleviate the pressure on my computer while streaming, but I don't think that's going to affect my skinning. So let's get to it. I'm going to do this skin, and then we're going to do the pull the winner. So while I'm doing this, make sure to exclamation point plunder for your chance to win. I need a good skin for this event for the wolf. I'm going to be doing this. What do I want? I always love to start with black. I did really love that tiger stripe thing that we got going on last time. That we did on the Omen, I think, or Zealot, I think. One of the two. Ooh, so with this, okay. I like the detailing that this exposes. So let's see. Well, that's already kind of fun. I like this so far. Ooh. This is the one. I'm looking for the ones that like change color from different directions. Ah, one of my favorites. There it is. There it is. This is the one that was so good I went to go get the unlimited version so that way I didn't have to worry about it anymore. But it doesn't. Wait, hold on. That doesn't. Huh. Oh. Oh. All right. Uh, black. I love blacks. I like black a little bit too much, maybe. But don't we all? Oh, okay. So this is because the first two colors are just the camo pattern, I guess, a little bit. That's some kind of vibe. I don't know if I like it though. I might wanna. Colors. What colors might I want? Purple? I mean, I do like to go with purple stuff because of the whole like deathless and invited. Ooh, that's a good one. Where? Why is this blue? Why are these blue lines here? Are these? Hold on. Okay, fuck. I was going to use that reflective there, but I can't now because I don't want these panels to just be blue. So let's pick. Okay, so these little panel lines don't reflect correctly. So why don't we make this the purple? And then that kind of looks cool. Aha. Okay. So people have talked a little bit about SKINR stuff. So basically we've got these four different colors. We've got the primary, the secondary, the detailing, and the text slot. And then we can have up to two different patterns. So what I want to do here is pick, I'm thinking a different purple to make it so it kind of pops a little bit, maybe? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe. Ew. There's a neon metallic purple. Hold on. It'll be a very dark purple in space. Yes, that's true. So Pearl Abyss gave them their IP back. Yay. Is Pearl Abyss selling good or bad? I mean, so I think it's largely good. I also think it's mostly, to us, relatively neutral. Okay, that looks good. Maybe. Man. All right. Let's see. What if I go with like what's it called? A tropic alloy red. The purple's just so much. Purple's just so much because there's so much detailing. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it. I think I want this to be silver, and that makes everything else just a little bit more highlighted. Then I could go with not that one. I was thinking I could go with one of the color changing ones, but I don't think this one works with color changing that well. Oh wait. Oh wait. This might work. Might work. And then we go, what if we, okay, we definitely don't want nothing. This is starting to look better. I like this. This is good. This is a good start. What about swapping the black from this year's event colors with white and blue? Wait, we're swapping the black for this year's event colors of white and blue. So interesting how these different things interact with each other. Man, I wish I was a fan of yellow. Gold orange gloss is wonderful. Do I have that? Where is that? Where's Gourd Orange Gloss? Am I missing it? Oh, wait, hold on. No. Boy, I wish I could search for stuff. Man. Whatever. I like this look, actually. Although I don't know about the white part of it. That's got an interesting vibe to it. This has at least a blue. Let's see. I'm going to spend all this time making a skin for me, and nobody's going to care. Let me wrap this up. Take it forever. I just love this skin so bad, so much. Or not this one, not this one. This one, right? Yeah. I use it all over the place now. But I think we're just going to go with... Oh. Yeah. What if we just go with black? Pretty sure it's limited only. I'm mobile, so not logged in. Logged in? Okay, hold on. Sunrise. Hold on. What was it? Orange gloss. We'll just look up orange. Am I not working right? Okay. Sunrise. I mean, I figure if I at least see it. 07. If I can at least see it, then I can find it easier. Okay. Sunrise gloss. Exoplanet sunrise gloss. Right, okay. I feel like I would have found that. Where is it? Oh, never mind, it's right there. I mean, if I wanted it that much orange. It was, wait, is that, it was the one I was looking at. This is such a, oh, Ritual Gourd Satin. It does look really good. That does not. Hold on. Nope. Nope. Sure. I think Ritual Gourd Satin. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna want that. I think this actually might be pretty good. Although now I've ended up with the blue lines again. Arrgh! All right, we're gonna switch this over to black, and this one over to The one I love. I need more than like 4 colors that are my favorite colors, man. That's what I need. Yeah, this one. I think this is a good start. Do I think it's a good start? Hmm. Do I want blue? I don't like blue. Well, do I not like blue? Blue are so Caldari though. Actually, this really light metallic blue is kind of nice. Makes everything stand out a little bit. Okay, let's look at some patterns and see what we can do. Because I think that we can actually do some pretty interesting stuff when it comes to patterns, especially depending on where we put it. So, let's see. Do that. Rotate it. To 90 degrees. We can scale it way up. Oh. That looks awful. All right. Nope. Nope. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is take the pattern off certain areas. So like if we take it off these 2 places. Oh my god, this chip is so hard to skin. This is so bad. Uh I rotate it. Oh, what the hell? Oh, that's offset. If I rotate this. Oh, we kind of get some cool stuff going on here. How many? Oh, I don't have that in my collection. Never mind. I can't get that one in. What about the new one? I could get the new one. Maybe this pattern. I want something that like breaks it up in a way that's kind of interesting. But like nothing's really jumping out at me. Let's see. We could okay. We could rotate this and then offset it and then mirror it. And now we have like that going on, which is kind of cool. And then we could like change that color. But it's I mean, like, it's not really what I'm going for. Maybe that's where this comes in. And that means that this one will actually want to be like a gold. Or a orange? Oh, we're starting to get something looking kind of nice. Got the blues to it. I don't know. I think I think I have an idea. Might be, I wonder, like a blue and a green, or purple rather, the purple and green for like the hold on, what are the invited colors again? Let's look. We got the purple. Oh yeah, we do have an orange. Yeah, purple, orange, and silver. So there's purple. Silver, what we do want. And then what was that one? Not exoplanet. Ritual gourd satin. Oh, does that look good or does it look like a mess? That's got so many different things going on. I don't know if I like this one. This is so hard. Okay, hold on. Let's think this through. It's a wolf. Let's think about like it's a wolf. I want like blacks and white grays. Yeah. So let's start over. I want this to be gray. I want this to be gray. I was worried that it would be too thuckery, but now I kind of don't care as much. It is a hard ship. But if I want like fur. Can I get fur? If I change it to like green. Okay. Oh, hold on. Actually, this is cool. Oh yeah, hold on. We might be onto something. It comes in from the side. Offsets. And then we scale it up. I mean that oh. What if we do that? And then we like that actually looks pretty cool. Especially if we change this color to something a little bit more striking. Not that striking. This is where we can pull in the metallic purple. Brutor skin sorted. Yeah. Blood of Pator. Do I have Blood of Pator? For which part? I think I like the purple shiny though. I want to work this out a little bit better though. I am starting to like this, but I think I want this to be black. Or at least like a dark. That's too much. God damn it. Everything's just a little bit too much on this ship. Did the sub plus Plex sale disappear? I think so. Amy's version of the event wolf. Let's save this as invited wolf. Save that. Now we're going to go check out Thran's choice. Save. I do like the two-tone look a little bit. That actually is probably a pretty cool idea. Why don't we try? It's funny because the ship looks so good, but it's so hard to skin well. All right, I think that this needs to be changed to right. Can we just reset this? Top. And then rotate it to look like that. Offset it. Wait, what? What is happening with this fucking thing? Hold on. What is happening with this projection? I need a different color so I can see. Oh. Okay. So, like this. That's the wrong offset. That's why. Like this. Man, this is so weird. Okay, that's why. Got it. So if we go like this, go like this, then mirror it. Then if we go like this, we can control its position. Boo, this also isn't working. All right, so rotate it from that direction. And scale it. Scaling it down. Okay. God damn it, I just need a new pattern. Maybe I need a new pattern? That's terrible. Okay. Hold on. This one, if we scale it up. Jesus, this doesn't look like any, like, it's so hard to even see what's happening with this. With a lot of these. So what happens now if I turn this to be metallic purple? Does it look good? Because I really need to be done with this so that way I can work on your guys' stuff instead of my stuff. This project has gotten out of my control. Okay, actually, that looks fucking good, actually. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, man. No, we definitely want negative 90. Want it to scale up so that way it, like, encompasses stuff. Actually, yeah, I think... I don't know. I think Bloodied Wolf... I'm just going to call this Timber and call it good. I just realized that I'm actually not even in the correct place to be doing my skins at the moment. Let me make sure I can actually make this thing. I don't, wait, no, I don't have the sequencers. That's fine. I have all of the rest of it. Who won? We haven't done a winner yet. We're about to do it. All right. I can't make this skin per se. Hold on. I can... we gotta head to Dodixie. I apologize, guys. Let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll do the giveaway, and we'll get out of here. Don't avoid e-incom systems. Let's go. Man. Sorry, that guy's that must have been kind of brutal. I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to look into that. I thought that was gonna be a lot. I need to. I feel like there's a lot of potential in that hull, but I'm gonna have to really figure out how I want it to look. Let's go ahead and do the giveaway so we can start figuring things out while I'm on my way to Dodixie. Remember, exclamation point plunder for your chance to win. This is your last chance. When I figure out where it is, I will close it and we will find a winner. You've got about 10 seconds left. Exclamation point plunder for your chance to win. Make sure to do it at least one more time just in case, because I don't have very many people in it again. I only have 11 people right now, which is odd. I thought there was more of you who have entered. So go ahead and just exclamation point plunder for one more time just to make sure. Not play, plunder. Although, Popper, you already got in. That's fine. All right. I'm glad you liked it. All right, well, nobody else is jumping in. So we're going to call this good. Closing it. And Morcar wins. You wondering the you got one from the previous event, right? Didn't you get one from the previous event? See, this is your second skin of mine. Isn't that true? No problem with that. I just good for you. Do you have any idea what exactly you might want? Uh-oh. Is Morcar going to respond? I might have to pull again. Uh-oh. One more chance. One more chance. If I get through Bay, I'm on my way to Bay, which is... Wait. No, never mind. I already got through Bay. If I make it one more jump, so if I get through to Toll and jump through the Stargate again, and Morcar hasn't responded, we'll pull somebody else. Make sure if you win, you know what ship you want me to make a skin for. Don't be like, oh, think about it in the moment. Don't be like me and have no plan. Uh-oh. Morcar! He's the reason why we do giveaways, not the winner of the giveaway. All right, well, we will pull another name then. soon as I jump through. Ragtag Pro. Ragtag Pro. More card to unlike the game. What's the this arrest news? Sylphie N'Diabel, the unofficial leader of the Intaki Syndicate, has been arrested by the Caldari state. Hey, Ragtag. Excellent. What ship should I build for you? Have I built one for you already? I can't remember if you were one of the ones that won. I think you're one of the ones that haven't won yet, and I was like thinking about giving you one just unilaterally, if I remember correctly. But I'm also very bad at remembering things correctly. Eagle. Oh my god, that's going to be so much easier than the hound or the wolf. Any specifications about what you might be interested in with the eagle? Oh, you got the Deimos. That's right. Okay, so you get a second one. Excellent. Let's go with the eagle. Ask for a revenant. Then you get the skin, but not the ship. I say, what do you mean not found? Something colorful you can spot across space. Oh man, hold on. Like, do you want like an eyesore? Ash, can I have a Marshal for free? No? I mean, maybe. I mean, yes, you can have a Marshal for free. You just have to do all of the, you know, Project Discovery or recruiters. Vexers are all the rage these days. Yeah, that's true. Okay, hold on. Not an eyesore, but something noticeable. Not an eyesore, but something noticeable. Any particular colors you want? A yes or no? Let's see. Not an eyesore, but something identify. Is this secondary color like actually the? No. Oh, that's actually fair. This. You trust me? You shouldn't. Okay. Oh man, this thing has like a fate. I'm gonna make 1,000 eagle skins. All right. Let's see. This needs to be bright and shiny because it's the detailing. Or maybe gold. Front needs to not be red. Front needs to be a blue. You like blue? I mean, it's Caldari. Or it could be that. Oh, this reflects in like 2 different colors. You know how much I love different colors. This also would stand out. I feel like this qualifies as standing out. It's got little shines of gold. It's got little shines of red. Let's see if we can find one of the. Actually, this is the one. I have the one that turns blue. This one's. This is so cool. Like, you can't even figure out what color it is, right? Because it's red, it's blue, it's gold. It's all of the colors. Okay. And it's got that gold little glinty on the detailing. Text slot. Oh, yeah, it's cool. I'm glad that you like it. Yeah. This thing has so many different little... The rig is up. Give me a sec to get those wire information. Come on. What? In commodities? Huh? Okay. I didn't do it. All right, so now we need a pattern. Well, what can we do? I don't want the pattern to be something like this where it's subtle. I like this. I like rotating it slightly, and I like mirroring it. Now it's just kind of got this. I was also wrong about the splatter pattern in the prior video. That has been a winter filigree inverted with a gradient blood spatter for the freighter. You might not have remembered the comment. It was a while ago. Yeah, I don't know if I remember that one. What color do we want? The should be that looks like an opal, right? Like that kind of looks like it's a precious stone. It's also a very expensive skin so far, but that's okay. Do I even own this one? I do. Can I make this? Oh, hold on. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns about this setup? It feels like it's an actual precious stone, right? Because it's got all these different little weird glints everywhere. It's got facets to it. Does that mess with the colors though? Which one? Well, okay, so we still get the glints of gold. We still get the glints of... This is why I actually like layering things with the opalescence, is because it has this weird tendency to, like, still work. Wait, did you just run the opal red from the event? That thing's Empyrean rare. The opal mantle? Oh, yeah. No. I get that it's Empyrean rare. I just love it. So I use it for everything. And, you know, this is why I asked for Plex donations earlier. No. Whatever. It's expensive, but that's fine. The white one is epic. Yes, but it doesn't look the same. The white one's epic. Like, look, check. Uh-oh, hold on. That's my son. Hold on. Hello? Yes, it is. What? Would it be better if you what? I mean, I was going to stream for a little while today. I am streaming right now. But like it doesn't really matter too much. If you want to come over, I will. Oh, all right, hold on. Let me. Hey, my son wants to say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
There you go. Sorry, was that too loud? Oh, all right. Anyway, yeah, no. We were. Hold on. All right, and that is my son is coming over today. I was thinking that might happen. So, let's see. So we get the golds, we get the reds, we get the blues. Did Ragtag say that it's This is good or not? Does this mess with the, you asked if it messed with the colors. Is this still? Oh yeah, we were looking at this one's a whatever a. Oh, sorry, it's confusion. Now I don't know if my son's coming over again, so who knows? All right, so I was playing around with this a lot. It depends on how much you like the gold ragtag, because we can get most of the gold out of here. I still think I liked it the other way around though. Like with the this here, this here, the one, right? Because yeah, because there's like there's glints of gold, there's glints of blue. Actually, wait, hold on. Do you like it darker or do you like it lighter? I like it. Drop the pattern if it's getting expensive. No, don't worry about the cost. That's not the point of this whole thing. Uh, you could bring out the golds more by removing them from the pattern. Or from the... You like a little bit of the purple? Quantrium wiring? What? While the universe is full of metals of all shapes, sizes, and compositions, there are some metals that are such rarity and quality that they command prices far beyond those who are more easily accessible metals such as titanium. Among these, the very small quantities of rare metal called quantririum are among the most valuable. Metal can only be found in the polar regions of certain moons, and only in systems that are very specific astrogeological conditions. So rare is this metal that to date only 2 known moons have quantities of this metal sufficient to warrant the very expensive mining and refining equipment required to extract it. Both these moons are in Caldari space, giving the states a monopoly on the production and sale. Currently, all processed quantririum is on a long-term contract with the Calichiota Corporation, while rumors occasionally surface that one or more of the other 3 races have discovered quantririum. This has not been verified. Huh. Lighter with purple? Okay. Faction white, diverse unikit. But you said with purple. Purple. I don't... Okay. So then what if we switch this color, now that we have a darker base color? What if we go with a... Do I lose the gold completely? I think I've lost the gold completely. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. That actually resurrects a whole bunch of the gold and puts it everywhere? And puts it everywhere. Wait. Do I still get the gold? Not quite. What is that, mustache on top? What? So this is the greens, it has purples, it has the golds. It's lost a little bit of the pattern though. Look at the top of the ship. I mean, okay. What if we just, hold on. What if we just remove the pattern completely? I mean, at this point, matte. What if we go with like a that is way too much. Too much. Too much. Yeah, it's got to be a darkening. It's got to be a darkening. Okay, so we still have the gold? We do. So we have the gold, we have the pink, we have the green, we have the blue, we have the white, we have the red. This is my... Oh, wait, hold on. We want to scale this up and rotate it again. And then do that to make it so now it's just kind of broken up a little bit. Okay, so this is my offering to you, Ragtag. It is my Opal Eagle. It's all kinds of different colors depending on which way you look at it. It's like it's just like a precious little jewel that is both flashy when you first see it. It's bright, so it'll stand out, and the more you look at it, the more it looks interesting. This is the best I can do for you, man. Unless hold on, let me see if I really want to go over the top. If I want to go really over the top, do we have anything to do? What if I took this, like put it there? Does it matter? Am I now doing too much? I'm now doing too much. No, I think it was good. All right, what are we going to call it? We're going to call it the Opalescence. I don't know how to spell, so I had to look it up. Huh? Opalescence? We good? Everything's good? One last? Yes, and we're good to go. Did I fuck this up at all? No, I didn't. Hell yeah. Spell it phonically? I spelled it what Google told me to how Google told me to spell it. All right, good to go. Yep, that's it. All right, it's in the print. Okay, guys. Let's see. What else do we want to do? What's on with my... Oh, I get it. My green screen's a little bit not great. Thanks, Seventh Heaven. So we could keep going, but I mean, well, it's been 3.5 hours. It's been a pretty good stream. Otherwise, I'm just going to be hunting down mission sites. So what I'm going to say is this. I have no idea how the rest of my weekend is going to go, but it almost happened yesterday. I've been trying to make sure that all my streams are these like kind of, yeah, well, Ragtag's already gotten one from, it's fine. We'll figure it out. So, you know, obviously we do like the big show and stuff, but I was running around doing sites yesterday, and I think I kind of want to like just do a more chill stream of like a few hours of just continuing to think around with stuff and exploring the sites and stuff. So I reserve the right to do that. The biggest concern is that like I don't want to necessarily confuse people that are here for like the new stuff versus kind of the more chiller stuff. So I might do another stream tonight or this weekend. I also don't know if I want to do the like I have a huge bright light over here. It's a big production to do like the main show event. So if I do another show today, it might be a little bit less of a sophisticated setup. But just know that there is a very good chance that I'm going to be streaming today. So, or this weekend. So either this channel or the Decanted channel. So make sure to get on the Discord and to subscribe to this channel and the Decanted channel. Have I done this yet? Otherwise, I'm just going to work on more stuff to make the stream better. Because there's a few things I've been having in my head more. Because, you know, we've been getting more engaged. We've had more people, more views and stuff. So I'm trying to figure out, like, all of the best ways to make things work. Hey, I did! So if you have any thoughts, comments, or concerns about my stream in general, please reach out and let me know. I am looking for feedback always about ways I can make this better. But make sure to subscribe to the channel and get into the Discord, because if I do go live to just play around some today or this weekend, I'll be posting about it there. Otherwise, I mean, we do have our mining this weekend as a convocation, which of course you're invited to if you want to. And yeah, I don't know. It's my brain feels so scrambled by just trying to like pick up the pieces fast enough based on what's coming out. And I hope that this week has been entertaining to you guys. I hope that this stream, especially the last couple of weeks, have been good. I will continue to be working on making it even better every single week. So yeah. But unfortunately now, everything about the whole Sylphie and Diablo thing has like blown my brain out. I legitimately, like, ask Malak. Last night, like, I've been so like just trying to crunch through so much information that last night when we were playing video games, at a certain point I was just like, I gotta stop, man. I was just making mistakes left and right. I was not playing well because my brain has just been focused on crunching through all this stuff, trying to understand all this stuff, trying to process all this stuff fast, you know, as fast as I possibly can for you guys. I just bought 1,500 M3 of Caldari Special Forces teams with their gear. They're an Ocean Faction origin and unsettled with what's happening in Jeddah if Sylphie gets out. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, either way, again, the Discord is going to be one of the best places to continue to explore this stuff. We've been talking about a lot of stuff on the Eve Universe Show channel in Discord. 15,000. Did I say 15? Whatever. See, my brain is fried. I gotta go, guys. Oh, it's been a hell of a week. Next week is going to be even crazier, and then the week after that is going to be fucking mental. So I am very, very excited. Hopefully next week I'll be able to run some Mimitar frigate sites, because that was my original plan. But yeah. Other than that, I've been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put even to context for you, my fellow periods. At this point, my script is the only thing that's left in my brain, so I'm gonna have to end it there. Here is my special shout out. We've already called out the people, but one more time, just for funsies: 745 MPSI, Arydanika the Queen, Bad Boy Smooth, Ebo Leet, Erladis, Elange, Flash Gordon, Grims, May, Malak, Starfire, Malin, Mercuton, Mike, Michael, Neelam, LM1, Sheesh, Susuro, Thrans, and Rid. Wait a minute. Why is Morcar not on my list? I could have sworn I remember putting Morcar on my list. I've read this thing 100 times since. Morcar, you're now on the list. You're on my list of people that I say out loud. I'm sorry. One way or another, that's how this works. I'm an Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden. Until next time, I'll see you in space. Or I'll just be a space case, one of the two. I had a puppy. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to do something actually really unprecedented. Hopefully I don't show you too much of my place. But I've been showing more behind the scenes stuff. I've been doing, I have the guinea pigs here. I hope that people like it. Yeah, I already closed the stream. So everybody who's still here, shh, this is the secret after the stream. The behind the scenes thing. So, we've been doing I've been trying to make sure that my guinea pigs are on the screen more. I figure that people might like it. I'd like to know. I've been trying to get Zoe to want to show up, but she's so nervous. That's not a kitty. Oh, I don't know. Not the kitty. So, okay. So Zoe is so nervous because I'm in this like little insular place. Actually, if you go on the Discord, I have been posting a couple of like behind the scenes pictures. I'm gesturing so wildly that my watch just said, good job. You got up and did exercise. Sorry. So on my Discord, I showed a couple of videos or pictures. Hold on. Let me just pull it up here. For those of you who do not know, I operate on a pretty shoestring budget around here. But so here's my behind the scenes. You can see like right here is the cage. I see my see it now, yeah. So here's the cage that's right there. Here's the chair. You can see like here's the whole setup. So you can see in the picture, you can't really see it very well, but you can see there's this dog bed right here, which you can't see because of my camera. Awesome. Well done. No notes. Perfect. See that dog area? Okay, great. So now we're going to switch to full camera. And I'm going to pick up the camera and go, hi, Zoe. See, she's very nervous about being in this little corner area. She doesn't like to be cornered, but she is hanging out with everybody. So this is my little detached executive troika for the sublimation of Poshloss Flow. Just want to make sure to get you guys a clip of this. Make sure to like the stream if you like these kind of behind the scenes things too. But in the meantime, back here. Hey, all right. I hope you guys appreciated that. I always try to balance being like, people seem to be interested in this sort of stuff. No, I'm not really in space. That's true. I haven't. If you hadn't figured out that I have a green screen yet, I don't know what to tell you. No, I definitely want to like, if this is stuff that you guys enjoy. See, hey, look, there she is. I know everybody's a big fan of Zoe, so hopefully you guys like it. If you guys do, please like the stream and let me know, because yeah, I definitely don't want to just like distract people from stuff. If you're just here for Eve and be like, I don't care about your dog, that's fine too. Let me know so then I know. But either way, whatever. I'm an Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden. Until next time, I see you in space. Please let me go. Oh God. Have a good weekend, guys. I'm not in space. Look, man. I've actually been thinking about. So okay, fine. Fake ending number 2. Since you guys are still going, I'll still go. So I have this idea. I just want to hear from you guys what you guys think. Because like I have my green screen set up, and that's fine. But I also have this like really cool lion backdrop. And so I've been really tempted to like rearrange my setup so that way I just have that as a backdrop instead of a green screen, because fighting with the green screen has been at least some minutes a day. Every day I try to stream just to make it right, especially now that I've been trying to get the cage in there. But even then, like, so if people would be interested in that backdrop for a different texture or look, let me know. All right. For realsy, though, I'm going to just go now. Bye, 07. Jesus, get out of here.